I don't really expect this stream to be of interest to anyone, especially those who aren't in, survival horror games. What will happen is, well, first of all, that's the song I used. Mm. Anyway, yeah. So here we are. I don't know why Spider-Man is here, but I'm going to watch a video with you, as I like to do on Saturdays. And this one is a little bit long, but hey, we like long things on a Saturday morning. And it will help me, get distracted by the fact that that Nerys left earlier in the morning, and it's always a sad thing. But this should distract me, I hope. Um, so I was wondering how people view Resident Evil 9's story. Basically, I was curious if they find the same problems with it. Um, and since everyone is saying it's like literally 10 out of 10, and like everywhere across the board, like people are losing their shit with this game, I wanted to just pick a random fucking um, review that maybe resonate some of my views. And then I thought, you know what? No, I will pick a response to such a review. And some stars aligned, and this popped on my feed, and I was like, hey, that's cool. I'm gonna watch this on Saturday, and then see if maybe my mind can change. Maybe there are things that I missed. Maybe some lore enthusiasts will explain to me why I'm stupid with my opinion that the story is absolutely fucking um, childish and clumsy. And yeah, let's get into it, right? What else is there? I would use camera, but I'm a mess because I've been crying a lot, and also because I'm growing my eyebrows back, and also because I didn't have time to take a shower. And so, I'm not really proud of my morning appearance today. But you'll get more of me tomorrow. Not tomorrow, wait. Monday, right? Yeah, Monday. Which, by the way, with Neris back home by today evening, I guess, um, we'll pick up, modding Skyrim. And so I can't fucking wait because we're so close to finishing that. And that's what I want to stream. Like, my mind is I'm of a singular purpose right now. I just want to stream Skyrim. That's what I want, and nothing else fills that fucking hole in my heart right now. Except, yapping about shit, apparently. All right, so let me check sound for you.
Oh, let's begin.
But now let's hit on
1 second. Let's do this first.
All that context laid out, let's begin.
but now let's
Okay, so I need to do this. Let me try again.
let's hit on a
Okay, this should be okay for you, and it doesn't like necessarily like. But wait.
a really big section and
Okay, this should be fine. This should be fine. I hope. So Spider-Man over here, or Weird Spider-Man, is going to tell me why I'm wrong, why that other guy is wrong. I wonder what the other guy's criticisms are, by the way, because I haven't watched their video. So this is kind of like you know, uh, a blind thing. Anyway, you know how it goes before I start. It's all opinions anyway, right? That's all I need to say. So, yeah, sure. Tell me, Spider-Man, why is not liking the story of Resident Evil and having, beef with it is bad? Let's see.
All that context laid out, let's begin.
but now let's hit on a really big section and probably one of my major issues with this game. The story and characters are so completely beyond retarded. It's hard to put into words.
All right, that is harsh. It So, okay, if you take it in a vacuum, right, it's not that bad. There are parts of it that completely collapse the whole structure, sure, but there are many parts that are salvageable. And if you don't have fatigue with mansions, and this is your first Resident Evil and you haven't had any, you know, um, how can I say this? If you haven't rubbed shoulders, right, with the franchise, then yeah, you can say it's an okay story. But the point is, like my point has always been that just at the foundation, some things would cause the rest of it to collapse on itself. So I think that that's saying that the whole thing is R-worded. Um, that is a little bit harsh, but I can understand probably. But let's see.
We're gonna catch hell for this section, but I'm here for the smoke because this story sucks.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You miming is not gonna change anything.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
We're introduced to Grace by the game showing us that she's an FBI agent who also serves as a tech analyst, and her director sends her to the Renwood Hotel to investigate a string of strange murders. And this guy is aware that 8 years ago, Grace's mother was murdered right in front of her at this very hotel.
Yeah, so my problem with this, because at the same time, this is gonna be three people arguing without even knowing each other. So I would argue that the problem here is that Grace is at the FBI. Everything else after that doesn't make sense because Grace should never be in the FBI. She can't. Like, I cannot suspend my disbelief about that. You're immediately. If I were to accept that, I would have to accept that the FBI are, in this universe, literal clowns, like legitimately just clowns, and possibly one of the worst organizations in existence, which kind of tracks with Umbrella just being there, in general. But okay. Um, anyway, yeah. So yes, that was also something that surprised me, that the guy knows about Grace's not drama, trauma, right? And then goes like, okay, we're sending you there
And he opts to send her there. I mean, this
alone, might I add.
girl is a stuttering, nervous wreck throughout the whole game. And this man decides to send her there and send her alone.
It's to the point he's either literally working for the villain, which we never see any evidence of.
Let me stop you right there.
No, we don't see any evidence that these guys are working for the villain. But maybe Cyber Spider-Man is going to educate me.
I do think this point is interesting, like worth talking about, because it's something I questioned as well my first playthrough, even though I wasn't too concrete on my critique of it, and that's for a couple reasons. Number one, the part about him sending her to the same place where her mother died, despite there being a conflict of interest, I think that part of it can easily be defended by just her simply being a product of the fact that she's been following these strings of murders. Like,
What a word salad there, friend. By simply being a product of the word salad of the thing of the thing. What are you saying? So what you're saying is that literally he's making a stupid decision that makes no sense regarding a stupid person that makes no sense about a place that something happened that made no sense. And you're sending that person in there to make sense of it. Good fucking luck. You're the worst director I've ever seen in my life. I don't think that. First of all, when you have this kind of trauma where you are hyper focusing and obsessing, I don't think you're qualified to be a tech analyst for the FBI and the field agent. I think you need like tons of therapy before any of that, if ever. So yeah, sending the manic obsessed little girl alone, right on the hotspot of what caused her manic obsession, I don't think that's a good idea. Like that's not a good idea. Legitimately, even if we ignore everything else, that is just not a good idea. Um, I get what they were going for. They were going for, oh, it's time for you to go back and face the trauma because Requiem. I get it. It's stupid. It's stupid as fuck. We can understand something. That doesn't mean it makes sense or that it is good. It is stupid beyond belief and absolutely impossible um, to suspend my disbelief for. So this excuse, this word salad, and I'll rewind a bit because that was impressive.
Too concrete on my critique of it, and that's for a couple reasons. Number one, the part about him sending her to the same place where her mother died, despite there being a conflict of interest, I think that part of it can easily be defended by just her.
What conflict of interest, first of all? What are the interests that are conflicting? What, him wanting her to go there and her not wanting to go there? Is that like a conflict of interest that like any director would take? What? What?
Her simply being a product of the fact that she's been following these strings of murders. Like, we literally see her writing a
This is word salad, and like I cannot fucking understand it. Maybe because like I don't know. Maybe because English isn't my primary. I don't know.
report on previous murders, or they're not even murders really, they're just deaths from people
Oh, they're not murders. No, 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 no. Remember that hotel where like a mystical zombie assassin showed up and like decapitated your mother in front of you? Well, other people died there. Not murders, deaths. We don't know if they're murders, they're deaths. So it's safe to send you there. Right at the place where it happened. Where your mother, lost her mind, literally.
dying to the T-virus or the Raccoon City infection or the Umbrella Curse, whatever you want to call it. But there is heavy implications that the Connections, which is basically like the big group pulling all the strings in this game, have their hands in major agencies across the world.
None of these words here indicate that the FBI would be compromised.
World. And while they don't explicitly tell you that the FBI is like under their control, we know that they do have people in the department. They have people taking pictures of Grace, monitoring her movements.
So because people are monitoring Grace, who is a naive, gullible idiot with zero perception and zero physical and social skills, well, that must mean the FBI is compromised. On the other hand, the FBI doesn't need to be compromised if that's like the bulk of their agents that they have to rely on, and like Grace is like a high-ranking tech analyst. Okay, cool.
And as Victor says, it was part of a plan, and as we can see later in the game, at the ARC facility, it was part of their plan to get Grace on this case.
Yes, it was part of their plan to get Grace on the case, somehow. Never stated how, never mentioned that the FBI is compromised, never nothing. Yeah, I don't know. This is mental gymnastics. This is literally mental gymnastics right now. So there is nothing to say. You can believe what the guy is saying. You can think of it that way, but I think you're being overly generous to the plot by doing so.
So I don't really think it's too out of.
Either way, it's not a concrete point. Therefore, it's just something that you could counter argue with. Not easily, as the guy says, not easily at all. But you could say, what if the FBI was compromised? Because, it's never stated, but maybe if you interpret some things this way, perhaps that's what it means. Is there concrete evidence? No. So, yeah.
The realm of possibility when looking at the files and the documents and the things that the thing you see at the end of the game on the ARC screen, that the Connections were the reason for this happening. I won't give the story too much credit because this could have been explained a little bit.
No, it not explained, shown. There's nothing to explain. Like this guy is thinking that the info is there, but it was just never explained. No, the info isn't there. You're making it up. You're connecting dots, and then presenting that as fact, and then saying, "Oh, that fact that I came up with, yeah, they could have shown it better." There's nothing to show. You're just making like it's just conjecture on this guy's part because of his need to defend the point, and that's fair. But saying, "Oh, the point is there, just nobody sees it because these guys didn't show it," that's that's not how you have a discussion.
bit better, maybe just by an explicit statement that they were the reason this happened.
Far as I know, this point is definitely, that I take that point. I'm sorry, I take that point. We are 1-0 in whether or not this story makes sense. This segment did nothing. Did a horrible job at defending why Grace is in the FBI and why the FBI decided to send her there.
Instead of it being so subtle, but I do think we have enough here to make the interpretation.
No, we don't have enough to make an interpretation. You can still make an interpretation with literal crumbs that we find. But that's just an interpretation, and you can choose to believe it, but you can also choose to not believe it because it is also refutable. Absolutely. And the concrete fact, what we see in front of us, is honestly a bumbling idiot being sent erroneously into a situation they never should have been sent to. A bumbling idiot that literally shouldn't even be at the place they're at to be receiving that order by an equally idiotic director. That's what we're shown. That's what's concrete. Point to me. Moving on.
That, yeah, this wasn't just the director being stupid. That this was planned. I'm not.
No, this was not planned, especially by the writers.
Not saying that he was literally forced to put Grace on this case, but I do think it's fair to make the interpretation that there was some kind of influence there.
Again, you can make the interpretation, you can make the conjecture, you can interpret things as you like. I can interpret a bird flying as the sign of the end times if I want to. Doesn't make me right. Somebody else can come there and say, "Hey, look at this bird. It is very obviously not a harbinger of the end times. It's just a bird." And I can say, "Yeah, but if we read the news, right now there is war somewhere on Earth, so therefore this bird, like this is the kind of mental gymnastics that this guy is doing." Nope. 1-0 in my favor. Let's go.
But furthermore, to add on to the point, he doesn't even send Grace there alone.
He does. He absolutely fucking does. Oh my god.
There's literally a cop.
Yes, there is a cop. So?
At the crime scene with her. Like normally there would be.
Yes, cops tend to do their jobs. That is very accurate, thank you.
He also not only gives her the choice, he says you don't have to go if you don't want to.
I never saw you don't have to if you don't want to. I will have to rewatch the intro now.
But he also thinks it'll be healthy for her to confront her past so that this is not reeling on her forever. So again, while I do think this could have been written maybe a little bit better, I don't really...
I'm about to go and see the intro right now. One second. So, let's go on YouTube. Let's find the... One sec. Where are you? RE9 intro. Grace. Okay. All Grace cutscenes. Amazing. There we go. Let's watch all of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't notice that the director said you don't have to go. Let's see. Not that this would change anything, but it would at least, we can at least give some credit to the guy.
Sir.
Any sounds you're hearing is me slurping chocolate. Cold chocolate, sorry. I probably could have skipped that part. All right, let's get to the talking part. Give it to us, director.
Grace.
There we go.
Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
My office.
Oh, coming. If this is about the report you asked for yesterday, it'll be ready in 3. No, 2 days, tops.
Put a hold on that for now. We found another body.
Let's go.
Exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating.
Okay.
Now I need a good technical analyst on this.
Okay.
Okay.
I need your eyes on the crime scene. The Renwood Hotel. Look, I know that's where your mother was murdered. And I know it'll be upsetting for you.
All right. Fair.
Alyssa died 8 years ago. Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
So far, it's all concrete.
Confront that fear head on.
Just about to have a stroke.
I won't force you to go. But do you
Yeah, so to me, okay.
think you can do this for
One
me?
sec, sorry.
Investigate that crime scene and report back to me with your...
All right, so I can see why you can interpret this as the director being asking Grace, "Would you like to go?" But this is not actually how it works. This is the director trying to be sympathetic. He's not giving her the option not to go. To not go. He's just saying, "I think this would be good for you." And she knows that she can't fight that. He does say, "I won't force you to go," as in I'm not gonna pull rank, right? But he's actually telling her, "You're going." Like, I won't pull rank, but go. I'm not gonna force you. Which, by the way, would have been absolutely within his powers to do so. But yeah, okay. I will tell you what. I can give Cyber Spider-Man this. He does say, "I won't force you to go." I'll just counter with the fact that, like, literally, if you're working somewhere, right? Let's say that you're a courier, right? And your job is to take an object from point A to point B, and somebody tells you, "Hey, here's an object. It has to go there in that time." They're not gonna tell you, "Hey, you are forced to take this object." And they're not gonna be like that. They're just gonna fire you if you don't do it. That's the simple reality of it. They're not gonna tell you, "If you don't do this now that you've been employed, all hell shall break loose upon you, and I shall forever detest you." Like, nobody's gonna do that. It's not the army, let's say, right? It's not literally the army. So yeah, nobody's gonna. And I know I've already seeded that. Yeah, he does specifically say, "I won't force you," and that can be interpreted easily as, okay, Grace had a choice here. I could give Cyber Spider-Man that point. I am giving it. It changes absolutely nothing. I don't see an issue with it. I could even, as I demonstrated, you could even argue that yes, he wouldn't force her, As to what consequences disobeying a superior in that case would occur, I don't know. I'm not. I'm not. I don't work for the FBI. I'm not even in the US, so I don't know what would happen, what the implications are if somebody, if your director says, "Well, I'm not gonna force you, but I think you should go." I think you're gonna get fired. I think you're gonna get fired. That's my instinct, right? Um, I'm inclined to actually look it up, but not too deep. I can do this. 1 second. I can go over to, and I know some of you are going to fight me on that, but that's fine. It's okay. We don't all have to agree. So, in RE9 Requiem's intro, we see Grace's superior telling her to go back to Renwood to investigate. In that circumstance, what would happen realistically if Grace declined that order? Let's see. And so, if she's a regular employee, so a civilian investigator, a journalist, or an analyst, which she is an analyst, right? Declining a direct assignment would typically lead to formal reprimand, damage to career prospects, being removed from the case, and possible termination for insubordination, especially if the refusal isn't justified. The refusal is justified. Grace being there isn't justified. Therefore, again, I will stand, at the same point that Grace shouldn't and couldn't have been there to begin with. Because to argue all these finer points, we have to accept the absurdity of Grace being in the FBI to begin with. Right? So it's already like, it's already just something that would never happen. The DM tells you it happened. The DM decides and they tell you, okay, fuck you, it happened. Capcom says, okay, I'm a horrible DM. I'm a horrible writer. This just happened. You just have to accept it. This is One Piece now, talking deer and like plastic, elastic, fantastic pirates. That's what happened. Live with it. Fine, I will live with it. Even so, a very quick ChatGPT helped or assisted search seems to say that, like, yeah, there would definitely be repercussions. So does Grace really have a choice? Because think about it, she needs to be in the FBI, she needs to be a federal agent, otherwise she doesn't have the freedom to investigate the subject of her manic obsession. So there are reasons for her to just not be removed from the case. So yeah, there are some mitigating factors. And ChatGPT says she wouldn't be forced to go. Civilian jobs cannot compel you to enter danger, at which point, HR or medical could intervene, or she could request a reassignment due to prior trauma. Still, it would probably be quite damaging. So, it also this is something interesting as well. ChatGPT adds here that the most realistic outcome would be that they either would offer support, so backup, partner, or counseling, they would reassign if she still refuses. Yeah, so as you can see, it's not really. I already gave the point to Cyber Spider-Man, okay? I already gave the point. I'm a generous goddess. But I want you to understand why even that is debatable at best. Yes, it wouldn't be forced, but it would be, damaging, right? So I don't know. I'm not going to argue further. You make your own decisions, but the point still stands, and it's 1-0 in my favor so far. Moving on to next point, I hope at least.
I think there's enough here to make it some massive issue with the story.
The FBI in this game's DEI department worked overtime getting him and Grace on board here.
What the fuck are you talking about?
We find out that Victor, the main villain,
I didn't quite understand that either, but I'm not gonna go back to it. It's just what a weird thing to say. But that has nothing to do with the argument.
planted that body to lure Grace to the hotel. When she arrives, we see the flashback of her mother's murder, and it truly plays out in the stupidest way possible, because whenever the lights go out, they're attacked by this man, but Grace's mom shoots their attacker. Unfortunately for them, this guy later comes back, and I kid you not, silently teleports behind Grace's mom, kills her, and then instantly dies and falls crashing into a table with a lantern on it that sets the hotel on fire.
Yeah, he can magically silently teleport and survive multiple gunshot wounds just long enough to complete his objective, and then he just peaced out.
Okay, first of all, there's literally a bar right next to him that the guy could have, crouched behind and waited for the...
Crouched behind? When? When would he have done that? Let's analyze this from the beginning, right? The first biggest mistake here was not confirming the kill, which this is such a huge trope lately. I see it everywhere. Just fucking confirm your kills. Anyway, let's assume that whatever, they're panicked and they don't think about it. Whatever. So afterwards, the guy just, creeps up on Grace's mother, quote unquote, and kills her. But the guy says there is a bar there, so he could have crawled behind the bar. That would require for the person to know where Grace's mother and Grace would end up at. That is something he could not have known. So hiding behind the bar could have been completely the wrong thing to do. It's like, it seems like a 50-50. Therefore, I can't accept it as, oh, he was just behind the bar. So what happened is, did he teleport behind the bar and then show up?
them to turn around before he runs up, not teleports, runs up and...
Yeah. I'm sorry, but no one ran up to anyone.
Okay, first of all, there's literally a bar right next to him.
Yeah, and again, how would the killer know to go to this bar? How would he know that these two would end there? Maybe they would have decided to take another route. It's a huge ass building. You don't know where people are gonna end up when in a panic and trying to escape.
That the guy could have, crouched behind and waited for them to turn around before he runs up, not teleports, runs.
I'm sorry, but nobody can be... I mean, I guess due to the circumstances, like the fire, the noise, the crackling noise of things burning, falling, the panic of the moment, both of them just talking loud, that could have muffled his sound, and his sound to be fast.
Crouched behind and waited for them to turn around before he runs up, not teleports, runs up instead. Behind and waited for them to turn around before he runs up, not teleports, runs up.
I don't know the specific abilities of this kind of mutant. I guess he could be that fast. But where was he? Maybe, okay, you could say that he guessed correctly. Maybe you could say that he guessed oh, they're gonna come this way. I'll hide behind the bar, and then I will immediately charge somehow without anyone hearing. Maybe. Okay, maybe.
and stabs her in the neck, or slashes her neck, as to avoid just running at them head on and getting shot again. Also, we know these people are, somewhat superhuman when they're infected by this virus, so him moving that fast shouldn't really come as a surprise. But also, in regards to him, silently moving, I guess, Grace is literally, screaming, pretty much, and her mom is trying to calm her down. Obviously, they're not going to hear him until it's too late.
That further begs the question. I mean, we know Victor sent this assassin, but why would
Until it's too late.
All right, one sec.
Grace. I
Where
will
is the
force you to
where's
go.
the memory?
But do you think you can do this for me? Investigate that crime scene and report back to me with your findings.
So Grace is looking. They're both looking towards each other.
Breathe in and out. Oh, Grace. I promise you, I will explain this all to you one of these days. Grace.
Okay, let's assume that the killer sees this and and he silently approaches, crouching and whatnot.
Please know that you are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just
They're still looking at each other. There is no way that the killer would be in the same area and they wouldn't be seeing him.
None of you too.
okay.
Mom, I'm scared.
No. We need to find a way out of here now.
But we don't have any of our stuff.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
Now they're changing their perspective. Okay, yeah. Then it's logical. Then it is logical completely. Even a normal human could probably sneak like that, especially in this condition. The room they're in, though. 1 second.
Mom, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Please.
No.
1 second. Sorry.
Come on in, Grace.
I'm calling the police.
No, don't go.
So okay. They close the door. I mean, okay, he could have opened the door silently. Let's assume.
I want to report a murder. No,
Her mother is checking.
murders.
Let me see the bar.
Yes, I want to.
There is no way somebody would be behind the bar. She's checking.
Report a murder. No murders.
Grace.
Yes. The Redwood Hotel. Yes.
The door is still closed.
Please.
That door is also closed.
The police are on their way. Oh my God.
There is no fire, mind you.
Mom, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Grace. Grace, look at me. Grab my hands. Okay, look at me. Look at me. In and out. Breathe in and out. Oh, Grace. I promise you, I will.
So there is no fire, and the doors are closed, and there is nobody behind the bar.
explain this all to you one of these days.
The door is still closed there. In that frame.
Grace. I will explain this all to you one of these days. Grace. Please know that you are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just... I love you.
The intervals during which they're looking at each other are not enough for somebody to silently open a door and sneak in.
I love you too.
Okay.
Mom, I'm scared.
No.
That door is also closed, the one behind Grace.
We need to find a way out of here now.
But we don't have any of our stuff.
We
Mom.
can come back for it later.
That one is still closed.
I don't.
So yes, he does just literally teleport in the room. I'm sorry. Either so you can go both ways. You could say that he is that good, right? You could say that he is a master of stealth, like literally fucking Assassin's Creed, like literally fucking Ezio over here. Goes in there, nobody fucking hears anything. And let me see something else. Wait, I need to confirm something here real quick. I need to catch the exact moment, so it's kind of difficult. There we are.
Renwood Hotel. Yes. Hurry, please.
There is carpeting. Yes, maybe, but the timing, the time gaps during which he would have to do this would be crazy lucky. Like he would have to get really lucky because their line of sight covers both doors in most cases, and they did check behind the bar. Like you see her mother looking. She didn't like lean over it, but I don't think that would be necessary. I don't know if you've like been at that type of bar. I have. It's not so gigantic that you wouldn't be able to tell if somebody is there.
Are you gonna tell me what's going on? Mom, what are you doing?
So we see there is like at least partial carpeting here, so it would be safe to assume that I'm correct in that.
We need to find another way out.
All right, so you go there.
Grace, come on. Come on in, Grace.
I'm calling the police.
No, don't call the police.
Yes, I want to report a murder. No, murders.
Grace.
Yes, it's a murder. Yes, I want to report a murder.
This bar is not high enough that you would not be able to see if somebody's crouching there. You could argue that he's literally like being slithering on the ground. Okay, you could, like, as I said again, like it is ambiguous.
That further begs the question. I mean, we know Victor sent this assassin, but why would he even send him?
All witnesses at the hotel had already been taken care of. Okay, the body of the assassin that was sent was also destroyed. We had a stroke of luck with the fire. As they say, the best place to hide a leaf is in the forest, whatever.
I mean, why kill the one person who has info that you want and potentially kill the girl who you believe to be the key of
Okay, so I don't think the assassin was going to kill Grace.
everything? I mean, in an in-game file called the Disposal Team Report, you find evidence that the zombie in the beginning was an assassin. And again, this begs so many questions. There's an in-game file that reveals that Victor knew about Grace's existence since 2000. So knowing what he knows, Victor decided to wait 14 years to then randomly murder Grace's mom, and it doesn't even...
I mean, no, because like during those 14 years, then again, 14 fucking years, my guy. 14 fucking years, my guy. You could have found the info you needed.
bother to kidnap her until another 8 years later when he randomly decides to renew his pursuit.
Okay, first of all, there's a very clear reason why Victor has Alyssa assassinated. It's because she was investigating what was going on at the clinical care center. And also, what you just said, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but this...
I don't even need a reason. Hi, Neris, by the way. I don't even need a reason for why Grace's mother was killed. She was there, collateral. Don't care, honestly. That makes sense. Okay.
This is not true. He did not know that Grace was this child that
He seemed to be certain, my friend. In the note, Victor himself says, I'm sure she is that child. And then he just, what? Doesn't do anything?
he's been looking for. He didn't know that until the events of this game, and
I find that impossible to believe, that it took him 14 years to confirm who Grace is.
he says this multiple times.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for.
Yeah, I know now doesn't mean that I learned, I just found out. It means I now know that you're this person. It doesn't... This is not Victor saying, I literally just found out. This is Victor saying, I've realized that you're the one.
The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft. All tests have come back positive. I can confirm that she is indeed the one that we've been searching for.
He got
Again, all right, I will give you that the second video is more concrete on that. The first one not so much, but the second one is concrete, that Victor simply just found out. I find that impossible. My guy, you've had 14 years and much better circumstances than the ones that require you to plant a body in a hotel to lure out Grace from the FBI's protective embrace. Why didn't you act earlier?
Grace's
Like, you literally needed 14 fucking years? 14 years? 14 fucking years?
medical records from what Spencer already had on Grace because, she was his child, but he was not aware that Grace Ashcroft was the specific child that he's been looking for.
How? 14 years? You could have confirmed it.
Until the events of this game.
I still don't even know how Victor found out about Elpis or Grace in the first place. We're told in the game that Oswald Spencer never told anyone about Grace but Alyssa.
First of all, what you just said is not true. I even went back through the files in the game and parts of the story, and I couldn't find a single part where it says that Spencer never told.
I will tell you this. I would have to suspend my disbelief. Or just take the word of the DM again. Like, yeah, it took Victor 14 years to determine whether or not Grace was the correct child. Fine, okay, but this kind of wrecks Victor's credibility. Like, this seems like just so convenient. It seems so fucking convenient. Waiting for Grace to be in the FBI before Victor is allowed to know that Grace is the child. Like, that is just convenience for the plot. That is literally just plot convenience and makes no sense. Victor with so many resources, Victor who is able to walk in clear view with a woman on his back, with his enhanced Splinter Cell knockoff goggles and his ghastly appearance, that Victor who's running a clinic, he can't confirm that Grace is the person that he wants for 14 fucking years. Are you shitting me, my guy? I call bullshit on that, and I'm taking the point that is 2-0 right now. I'll say 2-1, because I'm giving the guy the fact that the killer could have sneaked up and killed Grace's mother. Okay, fine. And I'm being generous, but let's move on.
Told anyone that Grace existed. I mean, we literally see a scientist bring Grace into Spencer in the scene where he's holding her. And while Victor didn't know specifically that Grace was the child that he's been looking for, he eventually figured it out, who she was, who this adopted child was, who the genetic information that he got from was.
It took forever to find you.
Yeah, why did it take forever? How?
Why me?
Because my master made you who you are.
But as for Victor,
After 14 years of research, how does he not know that Grace is just a normal, regular-ass human? Literally, how does he not know? How?
Victor finding out about Elpis, the game literally shows you who
Victor is so incompetent that in his own messages he says, I have some medical data. It comes out absolutely normal. She must be special. This is literally like mentioned earlier. Like, look at this. He's so fucking stupid. My master's research has come to fruition. That child, she must be the final piece of the puzzle because, of course, she is like, coddled by Spencer. Sure, and
Randomly
then he
murdered
says,
Grace's mom, and it doesn't even
"What's this? What's the next piece of evidence?"
bother to kidnap her until another 8 years later when he randomly decides to renew his pursuit.
Okay, first of all, there's a very clear reason why Victor has Alyssa assassinated. It's because she was investigating what was going on at the clinical care center. And also, what you just said, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but this is not true. He did not know that Grace was this child that
He strongly suspected, and yet even then failed, and also it took him 14 years to fail.
he's been looking for. He didn't know that until the events of this
Victor is incompetent.
game, and he says this multiple times.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
So he does believe that she's chosen and special.
All tests have
He has even tested everything that was given to him. All tests have come back positive. I can confirm that she is.
positive. I can confirm that she is indeed the one that we've been searching for.
How? How did you confirm it? Grace is normal. Grace is just an average human.
He got Grace's
The organization, 2004, the organization was able to get me the child's medical records. It was lacking in certain areas, but did have her genetic information. My guy, you are able to determine that she's absolutely normal.
Spencer already had on Grace because,
How incompetent
she was
are
a
you?
child, but he was not aware that Grace Ashcroft was this specific child that he's been looking for until the events of this game.
I still don't even know how Victor found out about Elpis or Grace.
So basically, I have a different problem than what the guy is having. I think the guy criticizing this point is wrong. But I think the problem lies elsewhere. And again, once more, as I said, once more, it is a fundamental problem that literally just breaks the plot. Victor cannot be that stupid. He cannot be an like he's like so fucking incompetent at his job.
Grace in the first place. We're told in the game that Oswald Spencer never told anyone about Grace but Alyssa.
First of all, what you just said is not true. I even went back through the files in the game and parts of the story, and I couldn't find a single part where it says that Spencer never told anyone that Grace existed. I mean, we literally see a scientist bring Grace into Spencer in the scene where he's holding her. And while Victor didn't know specifically that Grace was the child that he's been looking for, he eventually...
Again, it's an ambiguity. It's possible that somebody ratted out the existence of Grace to Victor, since more personnel is involved other than Spencer himself. So that is a possibility. You could also say that Spencer was very secretive about it and just, tried to keep it a secret, and it still won't matter because Victor should have the information he needs by 2004 to know that Grace is just a regular-ass child.
figured it out, like who she was, who this adopted child was, who the genetic information that he got from.
Also, you could argue, I can see where the other guy's argument stands, or what he's trying to base it on. The way that Spencer talks about Grace could lead one to believe that he was keeping it like an absolute secret, right?
It took forever to find you.
Why me?
Because my
But it still doesn't matter.
master made you who you are.
But as for Victor finding out about Elpis, the game literally shows you who went through Spencer's research and found it. And also, they found the ARC facility where Elpis is literally stored. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Actually went on the Resident Evil wiki, and they claim that Victor was a researcher that worked under Spencer at one time, and that his reason for killing Grace's mom is that she was investigating his Elpis experiments at his clinic. But
And here you do see that, like, yeah, Lisa Ashcroft was murdered because she was investigating in this. It still doesn't matter. She could have, like, that's the only part where I could say I don't care why she died. It makes sense no matter what because she was just in the way.
The wiki sources Alyssa's journal for this, and it only shows that she noticed Victor stalking her. Not that she was ever investigating him.
I'm sorry, but this might possibly just be the single stupidest thing you say in this
I
video.
agree.
Brother,
This is stupid.
first of all, it literally says, finish some research and stopped in a cafe when
Yeah, this makes it obvious that Alyssa was being investigated. Come on.
I noticed a hooded man. I could
But still, it just doesn't matter. That wasn't even a point that that I had a problem with, like, legitimately.
have sworn he was watching me. First of all, it tells you she's researching something. It also tells you that she's being hunted by the same people, a part of the care facility. Can you put two and two together to figure out what she's investigating? Boy, I wonder. Like, for people who are gonna call people stupid in this story, boy, do you guys have some deduction skills.
But getting back to the plot,
I mean, the same can be said about this guy, this Collins World guy, because you are missing, like, you can't see the forest for the trees, my guy. You're getting hung up on small details the other guy is throwing at you, while being wrong about them, and you're missing the major plot holes.
Grace goes back and retrieves the notebook and disc that her mom hid behind the painting, which, sure is lucky that it was still there all these years later.
I'm sorry, but this guy is now right. The one criticizing is now absolutely right. There is no way that an obsessed person like Grace would not go back and pick up that folder. You could even go as far as to say that this folder should have been probably picked up by someone else, even, be it thieves, scavengers, looters, anything, even cops themselves. Somebody would have found it. Even if nobody fucking found it, that's fine. That's fine. Why did Grace never even mention it?
Instead of being destroyed by the massive fire.
First of all, the fire didn't even burn the whole hotel. Like, there were areas of the hotel that were not even touched by the fire that we can see as we go through the hotel. And the hotel has been abandoned ever since. So, no, it's not really lucky that it's still there.
No, it is absolutely uncannily lucky. It is plot convenience.
The next part of
Especially the fact that Grace herself hasn't gone to retrieve it. That is the most peculiar thing.
this video is literally just like plot summary stuff that I don't need to respond to, and a criticism that I also brought up in my Resident Evil review where Leon is out of character in a scene in the beginning of the game. So I either don't have anything to respond to or I agree, so I'm just going to be skipping to the next part.
Oh, so there are so by the admission of Collins World, by the admission of Cyber Spider-Man, there are many points that he has no contestation points for. Well, thank you for pointing out how stupid this game is and agreeing with that.
But he's then immediately confronted by Victor and knocked out. This scene is pretty hilarious because at the start of Leon noticing Victor's there, he's got
Yeah, I had issues with that too, I wonder.
quite a bit of distance between himself and Victor, but instead of, shooting him or taking a step back and raising his gun, he bum rushes Victor with his gun out, and Victor immediately grabs him.
No one trained to wield firearms would ever rush like that. This is absurd. This whole sequence is absurd. It makes no sense.
Quite a bit of distance between himself and Victor.
When you have a gun, you don't want to go towards your enemy. You want to control distance, and especially if they don't have a firearm, you have zero reason to approach them, ever, in any case, ever.
But instead of, shooting him or...
And look at this maneuver right here that our boy Leon is going to pull off out of his ass, which puts him in the range of probably room temperature IQ.
Gun, he
Look at this.
rushes Victor with his gun out, and Victor immediately grabs.
Look at this. Who does that? Who does that? You're overextending your arm when in gameplay you are shown to actually mind the position of the gun, especially when turning. He's shown to hold his weapon in a specific way. If you notice it, if you try turning with your weapon drawn, you will notice it. He's doing this little, swaggy maneuver with the weapon close to his shoulder and head. But no, here Leon becomes a complete moron and just extends his arm fully towards the doctor, who is very clearly, absolutely beyond any suspicion, mutated. huge and menacing, and he's literally a fucking nemesis thingy. Leon should be able to tell, unless his instinct is like zero. It is completely uncharacteristic, and the plot here victimizes Leon to a degree that is like almost criminal to the character.
Grabs him and puts him in a chokehold.
I mean, I also have a problem with this scene, but I think you criticized the wrong reason. First of all, Leon is standing there because he's just genuinely not scared of Victor, and
Not scared and underestimating are two different things. Leon would be not scared, but he would not underestimate Victor.
two, he doesn't bum rush him. He literally stands in the same
No, he does bum rush him. You show it. He does literally bum rush him, extending his arm with his pistol.
spot and pulls out his pistol and gets speed blitzed by Victor. My problem with this scene is the power scaling that, you know, Leon is so overpowered here and can't do anything, but then later in the scene, or at a later scene, he can just overpower Victor. So I
Yes, thank you. So you are literally admitting the same bullshit that I've seen, which makes absolutely no sense. So Collins World, what the fuck are you doing, my guy?
do think it's a power scaling issue here, but what they said, it's like, no, it's not an issue. It's completely in character for Leon to act this way.
Why? Why is it in character? Is Leon like literally just stupid?
And throughout this entire segment, Victor allows Grace to wander the care center filled with all of these dangerous zombies. And I have to ask, it's clear that he thinks she's the key, so why would he allow this?
Also a point. Even in Resident Evil 4, Leon shows enough intelligence to care about Ashley or whatever her name is. That other, like, you know, cookie cutter blondie. He literally doesn't leave her out of his sight. If he can help it, he protects her. But here with Grace, just gives her a gun and goes like, okay, now I'm gonna go face the big bad guy, and you, yeah, feel free to roam in this infested mansion.
He's got cameras set up all over this clinic, so it's not like she could exactly hide from him.
It's also crazy that he sees this girl that's 110 pounds soaking wet and then thinks she'll be fine in a zombie apocalypse all by herself.
So this is another criticism I do agree with, and again, it's also something that I brought up in my review, that Victor just kind of allows Grace to escape despite needing her alive. I think
No. The problem isn't Victor allowing Grace to escape, because you could say that all these maniacs, all these big bads in Resident Evil, they're obsessed with observing subjects, with taking data from their encounters, blah blah blah. You could say that, whatever. Why is Leon allowing her to roam like that? Why isn't Leon protecting her?
the only justification really that the story kind of gives is that like Victor is so confident that like this is the destiny, or this is his destiny, and that it won't go wrong, which is why he doesn't really care that much. I don't
He's creating his own arguments and then defeats them with like, what are you doing?
really think it makes him look stupid necessarily. I just think it makes him look ignorant, which is one of his character flaws in the game. But at the same time, it is a little silly.
Thank you for admitting that without the main villain being absolutely ignorant and absolutely moronic, that the plot would never have worked, because he would have realized before 14 years passed that Grace is just a normal ass human.
For him to just not be safe here and just capture her again instead of just like, you know, giving her the chance to run away. I do think it's a little flimsy, which is why I partially agree with the criticism.
A little flimsy? A little flimsy and partially agree? You are being resistant to logic.
But speaking of Grace, Grace later finds a little girl named Emily in a cell, and there's a man outside the cell who is bleeding out, who with his last final dying breath warns her not to get close to the girl. And yet again, we have a scene that exposes Grace as an absolute idiot. I mean, somehow she's an FBI tech analyst, yet she has to ask the girl if she's blind, despite seeing her cataracts and reading in Braille.
Cataracts. You can't see, can you?
Okay, so this is one part of their criticism of Grace's character that just shows they don't really understand like her writing at all. She's not literally asking the question, is she like...
Are you, my guy, Collins World, are you gonna do the... But you just don't understand her. You don't understand her character. What is her character? Absolutely stupid? I mean, that's a bad character. And how is that character in that position then? Like, Collins World, please, dude. Please.
can she see or not because she doesn't know the answer. She's asking because she's a socially awkward person, and it's her way of trying to get comfortable in conversation with her.
Grace somehow doesn't notice the dead body or the giant hole in the ceiling of the roof that appears later on, and she doesn't even realize later that the doll in Marie's room is the same doll in the girl's dungeon in the basement, meaning that the girl that was next to Emily's cell transformed into a monster, meaning that Emily will probably transform into...
Okay, so, all right. That is meta-knowledge, right? That is absolutely meta-knowledge. You can't expect Grace to connect the dots there unless he's like Batman or something. But what Grace should have probably already been very suspicious of would be the similarities of the girl with herself, unless she has no mirrors in her house. And the fact that there is like somebody, a scientist, saying, don't go near, don't free her, right? The girl is obviously closed in a locked environment, and whatever was in the next cell escaped through a hole in the wall. Just seeing this, like you enter a room, there is two cells, both of them are locked. There is a dying man on the floor that tells you don't let her out. You only see one girl. And then you see at the other cell a hole the size of a girl. That thing dug through. Okay? I would be overly suspicious. Maybe I wouldn't know what's happening, but I would be overly suspicious. Especially because the girl just looks like me. Like way too much. I would be very hard pressed to let the girl out.
Into a monster at some point. Does she care about any of this? No.
But not to the degree where this guy is saying. Like that would be like such a leap of logic.
Never.
Well, anyone with a pulse could see what was going to happen to Emily, except for Grace. She's only an FBI intelligence analyst, though, so I guess, putting the pieces together is just a little too tough for her.
Okay, so this is just yet again them being disingenuous about Grace's character. If you watch the scene where she...
Don't forget that Grace is stupid. Because there's also that. Like, Grace is literally stupid. She's incompetent. She's literally a buffoon. So, of course, she can't piece any of it together or feel any suspicion at all.
Goes into Emily's cell, she is hesitant.
Which, of course, means that Grace is a horrible character and a terrible protagonist and completely unrelatable to anyone with a pulse, just to borrow an expression. Which is a fundamental problem. And once again, both of these guys are arguing about semantics, whereas the real problem of the story lies in its fundamentals.
And literally asks her, why did they put her in here?
Hey.
An FBI analyst who thinks to ask the girl herself, why did they put you here? Instead of asking, like, what happened to whoever was in the other cell? What happened to that? But then again, Grace is an idiot, and we're supposed to believe that she's working for the FBI.
Why did they put you in there?
However, she thinks that she needs her right now, so it's a bit of risk assessment to take her out of it because she thinks she needs her help. But this is going to lead into their next criticism, which I also have a problem with.
Dude, and what makes it even more ridiculous is Grace goes out of her way to endanger Emily for
I agree with that. Assuming that somehow Emily is in the FBI. Assuming that despite her immense stupidity, she's like sent there. And finally, we end up in this scene somehow. Let's just accept that this happens. Are you really like that criminally insane? Like, from Grace's perspective, this child is innocent. Grace is stupid. She can't make any possible connection with anything and decides to free the child. Fine. But then she also decides to endanger the child for something that she could have done herself, which is borrow the fucking book, ask the girl which word is which symbol and how do you write it. Take the book with you and fucking decipher the braille control panel yourself. You don't need to endanger this child.
Literally no reason, because she's stupid. So the final medallion puzzle, where you have to press the sun, star, or moon keys, that puzzle, the last one, is in Braille with no symbols above it. And for some reason, Grace decides to carry Emily to it so that she can read it. Once she gets the final medallion to leave the clinic, the girl busts through the wall, and this is where you see that she has healing powers. And this girl grabs Emily and descends into the basement. Now, it's important to note that Grace endangered Emily here for genuinely no reason. If the expert FBI tech analyst had paid attention, she would have realized that every machine uses Braille and that all she would have to do is write it down or memorize
Thank you.
the Braille under each one of the symbols of
Fucking thank you, my guy.
the boxes and just use it on the last one where the symbols weren't present. That's all she had to do.
Okay, so I'm sure some of you have already probably thought the same thing after hearing that, but just to put this into perspective, me playing Grace's sections in this game, not even being in the same stressful situation as her, you can, if you do play the game, like I said in my review, you can kind of feel just as stressed as Grace, but you're not literally in the same situation as Grace. So if I felt stressed,
So once again, you don't understand it, but you just don't understand, but you don't understand Grace. Shut up.
playing the damn video game,
Why is she an FBI agent if that's true? If her stress levels peak at the first sign of trouble?
as her, where my life isn't in danger, but hers actually is, then I can only imagine how it
So because her life is in danger, she's gonna also endanger the child. Instead of come on, my guy.
is for Grace, seeing this final puzzle box, seeing that it's in Braille, and not immediately thinking, oh, well, all the other puzzle boxes had Braille on them as well. Because I didn't even notice that until they said this in this video. I didn't even notice the other puzzle boxes had Braille on them. I was just looking at the symbols that I needed to type in. So expecting her to think super logically like this, instead of just...
She doesn't even need to know the other symbols were in Braille. Even I didn't notice that. Not because I was stressed, but because I gave zero fucks. That's different. But seeing that particular one having Braille, you could say, yeah, let me just ask the blind girl to type for me, to write or type or whatever these, or indent even better, these words on paper, and then I'll go and fucking figure it out. I don't need to have a child with me because that's gonna be a very caca situation.
thinking, hey, wait, I know that there's a little girl over here that I literally saw reading Braille earlier. I could use her to help me get out. It's a genuine mistake, even if there are other options that she could have taken to get this.
It's a genuine mistake because she's an idiot. But if she's an idiot, what is she doing there? How did she even end up there? What circumstances allowed her to end up there? Bad writing.
Last medallion. And it's this mistake that
That's what allowed her to be there. Horrible writing.
she suffers for and impacts her character arc in a meaningful way, which they're gonna say later in the video, Emily has no meaningful impact on this game's story, blah, 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 blah. But let's continue with their video.
And she fights through a bunch of zombies on her way there because she rides down this elevator to a hidden lab that Victor has, and she overhears that Victor wants her because she's the key to some bioweapon called Elpis. He then gets word on a radio about something, and after receiving it, decides to set the facility to self-destruct. And I have to wonder, don't you think you want to make sure you actually have Grace securely in your possession and that she hasn't already been killed by zombies before you just blow up your fancy lab?
Isn't it also the tiniest bit suspicious that your elevator, your secret elevator that brings the entire room down is not in the place that you left it?
Okay, so there's two things to respond to here. One, the point about him not having Grace, so why would he blow up his lab? And two, how does he not get suspicious by the fact that the elevator is moved? So for the first thing, Grace has no relevance to this lab whatsoever. Him destroying this lab is completely irrelevant to Grace. He sees it as useless research because he thinks Grace is the key. So whether Grace is alive or dead, this lab still serves no purpose anymore.
Yeah, but this lab could probably cause Grace to die. Wouldn't he think so? Is my question.
The second thing in regards to why is he not suspicious, for all we know, Victor has other people that have access to this lab. And
What other people? There is no one in the fucking clinic. No one at all. No one at all. Not a single person. So if somebody used the fucking office elevator, that's suspicious. then again, we have confirmed that Victor is an idiot as well. So it becomes a battle of the mindless in this case.
In the frenzy that he just caused at his care facility, any person could have moved this elevator. So if we go under that logic, I don't know why
What person? There are no other persons.
he would have any reason to believe that, oh, Grace might be down there, or someone who's not
There is literally only Grace down there.
supposed to be down there might be down there. It's like literally anybody that he allows down there could have been down there.
Grace eventually gets the key.
They're all dead, my guy. They're all fucking dead. Victor should know. As you said, he has cameras everywhere. You said he observes everything. You said it. You literally said it. Not to mention, it's not a leap of logic to say that, yes, at this point, everyone in the fucking clinic is infected except, Leon, Victor, and Grace. And Emily. So at that point, my guy, what are you even talking about? Of course, Victor should have suspected somebody is down at the lab. And the lab blowing up could compromise Grace if she was down there. So this is the most stupid writing I've ever seen. And it requires both characters involved to be absolutely gigantic morons.
He leaves the facility, gives it to the pilot, and they take off in the helicopter. But before they do, the zombies latch onto it, and not soon after they're in the air, the zombies actually break through the window and cause them to crash. And Grace doesn't even shoot the zombies
Thank you. Fucking thank you.
once they break the glass, allowing them to grab the pilot.
Bro, for all we know, Grace has no bullets in her gun. Hell,
No, we know that Grace has bullets in her gun. I had bullets in my gun. Any other player could have bullets in their gun. What kind of writing is this?
I'm sure some people playing this section didn't have any bullets in their gun. But
Okay, so some people had bullets in their gun, some people didn't have any bullets in their gun. Why does the cutscene seem to be basing on what's canon being that there are no bullets in the gun? What kind of writing is this? Like, literally you're hinging on people not having bullets in their gun and then the cutscene making sense because of that? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious?
by the end of it. And she's also using the other flight controls to try and keep the helicopter in the air. Like,
this is like having a character with a gun and a sword, big in a final cutscene in a game, and the boss being like, "Oh, if only you could shoot at this button I'm gonna press," and the character going like, "Yeah, if only I could," and you're like, "But bro, I leveled up your gunslinging. I literally have a gun in your inventory." And the writer goes like, "No way anybody would have a gun in their inventory right now." It is so stupid.
what is this criticism?
The way this scene is shot is crazy because the helicopter hits a tree on the way down, and this thing defies all the laws of physics to turn itself at a 90-degree angle and teleport through the pilot's heart just for this, crazy moment of fear with the pilot being killed. It's so dumb.
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about with the way this...
Moment of fear with the pilot being killed. It's so dumb.
Bro,
Doesn't matter.
to be down there might be down there. It's like literally anybody that he allows down there could have been down there.
Gracer. But before they do, the zombies latch onto it. And
Okay.
not soon after they're in the air, the zombies actually break through the window and cause them to crash. And
Okay.
Grace doesn't even shoot the zombies once they break the glass, allowing them to grab the pilot.
Bro, for all we know, Grace has no bullets in her gun. Hell, I'm sure some people
Okay, so this is the stupidest argument ever, but I'm trying to see the trajectory of the helicopter.
playing this section didn't have any bullets in their gun by the end of it. And she's also using the other flight controls to try and keep the helicopter in the air. Like, what is this criticism?
The way this scene is shot is crazy because the helicopter hits a tree on the way down, and this thing defies all the laws of physics to turn itself at a 90-degree angle. Defies all the laws of physics to...
I don't see a problem with how the pilot was impaled, I'm not gonna lie, but like,
The way this scene is shot is crazy because... the
could have
helicopter
happened
hits a
now.
tree on
Could have
the
happened
way
right now.
down, and this thing defies
For example,
all the laws
or
of
here.
physics to turn itself at a 90-degree angle and teleport through the pilot's heart just for this, crazy moment of fear with the pilot being killed. It's
Because to my eyes, I can see why the guy critiquing it has an issue. It looks like this is the final result of the helicopter crash, but it is very possible. It is very possible that this branch clipped the pilot on their way down. Not that he got impaled by a tree that is like miniature scale, yet has a branch like this.
just for this, crazy moment of fear with the pilot being killed. It's so dumb.
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about with the way this scene is shot? We can barely even see anything as the helicopter is crashing. I don't even know, like, how you can even determine the laws of physics were broken because they crashed into a tree and it impaled the pilot. Like, what even is this point? Like, and why are we talking about the laws of physics in the fucking Resident Evil universe?
That is a fallacy right there. Of course, we're going to talk about some fundamentals, because if we start accepting that Resident Evil defies all laws of physics, then nothing makes sense, and none of the serious plot lines make any sense, because at any point people could use cartoon powers to overcome them. This game clearly wants you to take it seriously and clearly aims for realism, so of course we can criticize it on being unrealistic, which is irrelevant to what's happening here. Now, you could interpret this in two ways. The first way is how I interpret it. The branch impaled the pilot on the way. They didn't end up impaled at the final stop of the helicopter. That wouldn't make any sense. The tree was not short enough. The angle of the cockpit was not correct. In that case, if you choose to say, but the pilot seems to have gotten impaled at the end, I would have to ask, do you have any clear indication? Grace doesn't turn to check on the pilot at any moment. She only looks forward, as she should, because she's flying a helicopter, or trying to, let's say. Unlikely that you would turn. However, you could also say that a branch crashing through the cockpit and impaling the pilot would have probably caught her attention. At which point it becomes justified to think that this is how the helicopter ended, and at that point the pilot was impaled, making it impossible to happen because of the angle of the branch and the helicopter. I agree. So it's a little bit ambiguous whether or not it happened during flight and Grace just didn't notice. The impalement could have taken place when they hit the church's roof. That was my initial assumption, because that's at the branch level of many trees. The guy critiquing assumes that it happened at the final stop of the helicopter, which, if you assume that, well, then I can see why you would think it's not realistic. However, I will say that because of how little sense that would make, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt and saying that A, Grace was occupied and terrified, whatever, and B, therefore it happened mid-flight near the church ceiling level, like roof level, and Grace just didn't notice, and the branch just broke off, and the pilot was impaled. So I don't mind that.
The girl pursues Grace and Emily down there, and Grace eventually is able to open a hatch, which shines light down on the girl and kills her. But just after this happens, Emily suddenly mutates into a giant, crazy-looking flesh monster, and Leon kills her before she can attack Grace and Leon. Now, this is where it gets wild. Grace is so mad at Leon for killing the giant flesh monster that she gives him back his magnum and immediately just soys out and leaves. And this scene simultaneously shows how retarded both Grace and Leon are in this game, because Grace is enraged that Leon killed Emily, but keep in mind, she just killed the other little girl, whose name is Marie. That giant monster, that was also a little girl. Like, this is peak woman logic, where she's pissed at Leon for killing Emily.
I'm mad at the guy critiquing for going political about it and like, come on, that's such woman. That is so woman brained. No, it's not. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man or anything else. You don't have to even bring that on the table. Why are you making it about that? I don't understand. So shut the fuck up about that. But is it a stupid moment? Yeah, it is. He's correct in saying that she didn't, like, Grace didn't bat an eye at Leon dispatching the other creature who very clearly is also, or once was also, a human. So what kind of double standards are those, Grace? Nobody fucking knows. Let's hear the argument again and try to filter out the political stuff. I wish that this guy didn't fucking have to resort to that. Holy shit.
That Leon killed Emily, but keep in mind, she just killed the other little girl.
Yeah, literally, Grace just killed the other girl. She shouldn't be feeling what she's feeling right now.
Whose name is Marie. That giant monster, that was also a little girl.
Yeah, no, the argument is very logical. This is reasonable.
Like, this is peak woman logic, where...
But again, nothing to do with being a woman or a man, and you should be embarrassed, my guy, but whatever. You are actually right.
She's pissed at Leon for killing Emily's monster form, but she just killed another little girl who had transformed into a monster 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, but the story has already shown she's retarded, so she never puts it together, so she doesn't have to feel bad about it.
That is also correct, and that is very funny. If we accept that such a stupid person exists, which, come on, it's the US, of course it exists, she may not have realized that the other monsters are also transformed people. She could be that, literally that stupid. She could be, legitimately, which again points out to what is she doing there? How such a stupid... Then again, Trump is president, right? So I guess stupidity doesn't matter, and in America you can just like be the president even if you're completely stupid. Kinda tracks, doesn't it? God fucking damn it, it actually kinda tracks.
Ah, yes, peak.
But from a person, as a person with like average IQ, maybe above average in my case, I can't accept any of this, and that was my initial point. Like, it is just so fucking... It just it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Not the little things, the big things. I don't care about the little things, because the little things make sense if you accept that the big things make sense. But the big things are nonsense completely. The story is absolutely hilarious nonsense.
Woman logic. Like, what? The fact that you can't see the blatant difference between Grace killing the girl and then Grace watching Emily turn into a monster is just laughable. First of
It's not laughable, though.
all, Grace has no connection to the girl. She had no previous emotional attachment to the girl before she turned into a monster, and she also doesn't feel like it's her fault that the girl turned into a monster. That happened before she even got there. And she's also not even really mad at Leon, she's more mad at herself because she feels like she's responsible for putting Emily in this situation, and she feels like she's responsible that she was turned. But yeah.
That is so... That is so... My guy, that's what the other guy is saying. You're explaining it, but you explaining it doesn't make it better. You're explaining it. We get it. We're not stupid. We get it. We get what happened. We understand what happened. It's just that it's stupid what happened. That's the problem. What do you mean she didn't have time to develop? So excuse me, are you saying that, like, if you see a starving child on the street, you can abandon that child and not feed it because you don't feel an emotional, like, connection because you didn't meet 2 hours earlier and have like a 2 hour history together? But then if there is like a starving child next to that child that you have also noticed once before, and maybe said hello, how are you? I'm fine, I'm hungry. Now that feeding that child is okay, but not feeding the other child is not okay. Like, what kind of, like, bro, what? Oh, she didn't have time to develop a. So Emily only cares for those that she develops like a 2-hour bond with. Really, really. I'm moving on. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, that gosh darn woman logic. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Or where's the sympathy for my boy Chunk?
I mean, he is kind of just a victim, to be honest.
He's another one of Victor's experiments. He didn't ask for this.
And they're laughing at him. My boy's in pain and we're laughing.
They quite literally never laugh at him. I don't even know what the fuck this point is. Now, they could be joking, but, like, besides the point, they're joking while simultaneously trying to make Grace seem like a moron and a dumbass and like a bad person. So it's just like...
She's definitely a dumbass, and she's definitely a moron. And that's on what half of the game hinges on. So, yeah.
What?
But getting back to this scene, as Grace is walking away from Leon in anger, she walks down a hallway and a small flight of steps, and at the top of the stairs, Victor's there to greet her, and then he opens a big hangar door to reveal a new villain we haven't seen before named Zeno. They inform Grace that she's the key to Elpis, and she just goes with them without question, despite having been choked, kidnapped, and bound to a table with her blood being drawn. Grace is an irredeemable retard,
I have to agree, I'm sorry. I have to absolutely agree. She is an irredeemable R-word. Like, it is just, yeah.
fit to work at McDonald's.
Oh, but Leon shot the big monster that was about to fucking violate us with its tentacles. That used to be a girl. I have also shot a billion people in the head that used to be people. And I'm pretty sure that the escaped other girl in the other chamber I never asked about because I'm stupid is also that mutated giant granny that we see. I also destroyed her painfully. Fuck Leon. I'm going with the bad guys. Okay.
McDonald's, much less the FBI.
I think the only irredeemable retard here is you, I can't lie. They make it blatantly clear right here that Grace is just basically given up after what she just caused to happen.
Yeah, but again, you have to base it on Grace being an absolute moron, like literally an immature childish idiot who should have never been anywhere near the FBI to be able to be anywhere near Leon in this instance. It is impossible. Again, forest for the trees, my guy. You're just explaining. So what this guy, what Collins World is doing, I'm not even taking sides. I don't care about the other guy either. The other guy, the moment that he started going like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, like making some stupid jokes and then going like woman logic, he lost me completely. But his arguments are safe. Some of them at least are safe. The ones that count are safe. And the ones that count, this guy here, Collins World, cannot even debate. He cannot even debate it. His arguments towards the points of contention that matter are, you don't understand, but you don't understand. Grace is so special. And like, that's literally your argument. That's it. And then your other argument is, but you don't understand that Grace is actually that stupid, therefore it makes sense. You're just explaining something that itself doesn't make sense to justify things based on that also don't make sense, unless you accept that the things that don't make sense on which they're based on actually make sense in some fucking universe, and that universe can only be the Bizarro world. It cannot be the real world. That's the problem. If Resident Evil was part of the Bizarro world, I would have no issue with the story. Unfortunately, for Capcom, they're trying to present it as a grounded, realistic, serious story that takes itself seriously. Therefore, it's a failure. The story is a fucking failure. The only way this story is not a failure is if it's placed in the Bizarro world. It's not. Moving on.
And Emily. Also, what else is she supposed to do? She cannot do anything. She has to go with
She can hang out with Leon and escape together. What do you mean?
them.
And it doesn't help that the way this scene is shot, Leon is literally in earshot while this conversation goes down. There's absolutely no chance that he didn't hear and see the hangar door open and see the villains just standing
Fully agree. There's no way that Leon didn't notice this. I agree.
there.
And let's presume that he didn't see the hangar door open. Let's presume he didn't see anything. How could he have missed the helicopter? That's what I want to know. Are you
Yeah, those
deaf
things
too?
tend to be pretty loud.
This is also made even dumber Because when we get a cut to black and we now shift over to playing as Leon, Leon is now driving his Porsche to Raccoon City and is on the phone with Sherry talking about rescuing Grace. You know, the woman he just let walk away with the bad guys? I mean, he's willing to risk everything to rescue Grace,
I am absolutely in agreement with all of this.
but just lets her leave. No problem.
These guys sure like to say, with the way this scene was shot, and then follow it up with one of the dumbest statements you could possibly say. Yes, with the way the scene is shot, we see that there is a cut between where Grace was and then where she ended up right in front of Gideon. Meaning, we do not even know how far she walked away from Leon for him to even be able to see this or hear this.
We know exactly how far. They're in the same fucking main garage room or industrial like room. We know that. This is not like the Eiffel Tower of industrial complexes. This is 2 rooms. That's it. Like, of course, Leon can just see Grace leaving. He can even follow if he wants, which, why doesn't he? I don't fucking... The direction is just crazy bad here.
This, like you say. Also, the last time we see Leon, he's on his knees coughing up blood because of his infection, which is why he didn't follow Grace. And there's nothing saying that he didn't hear the helicopter.
Oh yeah, Leon is so incapacitated by this early stage of the disease. Yeah. Shall we fast forward to the point where Leon is literally a walking corpse and he still goes on and he still can joke? Come on, my guy, just fuck off already.
For all we know, he was going to go help, but they already left by the time he got to where they were. Because again, we don't know how far Grace got away from him.
When Leon gets
Not very far, because she wasn't running, she was just leisurely and depressingly walking away, while Leon coughed a bit of blood, which shouldn't have done anything to him.
to Raccoon City, he finds dead BSAA soldiers and grabs the chip out of one of their intact helmets and connects it to his phone. Now, the video shows that they were there for Elpis and were all killed by Xeno. Now, in the footage, Xeno's gun is melting people. This dude has the bloody mess perk from Fallout. He is...
I agree that this was like absolutely amazing to watch, but also very weird. One sec. I had to greet my flatmate.
turning people into Mountain Dew Code Red. And yet somehow, the dude who had the camera installed in his helmet gets shot in the face. And even though Xeno's gun can make someone's entire torso disappear, this guy's camera is perfectly fine.
You know what? Actually, I hadn't thought about this, but this makes sense.
But whatever, small point, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a small point, but it's a strong point. Yes, there should be nothing left. No camera, no helmet. You're absolutely correct. Holy shit. This is even more stupid than I thought.
This part's a little weird. Does it really have any meaningful implications on the story? No. The only thing it really shows is just like Leon seeing how threatening Xeno is, which he already would have known about and seen like later in the story anyway, so it just doesn't really matter. So it's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it does matter. In an ideal world, you would have Leon would have found the security footage on a laptop in the tent or in the container somewhere nearby, and he would have seen like the soldiers get decimated, and that's it. You know, it does matter because Capcom is a multi-million-dollar company, and they could have caught this and rewritten it. Somebody could have seen this scene and said, how did this guy's fucking helmet survive? Because you're showing us, Mr. Animator, you're showing us here that this gun can absolutely pulverize a human torso, turn it into a red mist, literally, despite all the armor and everything. So how did that fucking helmet survive? Point blank shot. And then the animator would be like, "Oh, okay, well, we can have him lose his helmet or something." And then the other guy would be, "Okay, cool." Like that's all it would take. Legitimately. So yes, it does matter because it's Capcom we're talking about. They shouldn't be making mistakes like that. Be right back. All right. I'm back and let's go on. Let's continue this fucking circus of improbability and stupidity.
Kind of just a nitpick with the story.
When Leon manages to assemble his detonator, he drives the motorcycle through the gate and is confronted by Victor, who tries to kill him with a rocket launcher. Which, why? I mean, earlier in the story, Victor has endless opportunities to kill Leon, but he doesn't.
Come on. That I have to refute. The doctor was fascinated by Leon and also wanted to interrogate him. And also, again, as we said, Resident Evil villains, they love to test the protagonists and all that shit. Come on, dude. I mean, you can give that a pass.
He takes him captive. So why now all of a sudden do you want to kill him? Are we supposed to believe that he kept Leon alive for genuinely no reason?
No, as I said, like to test, to interrogate, to collect data, to toy with. Come on. But now that the stakes are larger, of course, he wants to terminate him. That is fine. That is narratively fine.
Just so that he could kill him later? What is the point of this?
First of all, he doesn't have endless opportunities to kill Leon. He has one opportunity to kill Leon. And in that one opportunity, he doesn't just kill him immediately because he's trying to pry him for information. He literally says, you're an investigator, so investigate. He's trying to figure out what Leon knows. Hence the reason for him not killing him earlier in the story.
Now, as the motorcycle chase continues, it eventually ends with Leon and Victor gun jousting, resulting in Victor's death. Now, admittedly, there's a lot of over-the-top stuff in this game that felt so forced that it wasn't charming. And I hate to say it, but this was a rare case of the Tard Kino. That's a
great
love
word
it
for it.
I will disagree, and I will say that all of the over-the-top moments were quite charming.
That's what one of the fellows in our stream lovingly dubbed it, was Tard Kino, and it fits. It really does fit. It was a charming moment.
One of the rare ones in this, and by the way, Kodo isn't exaggerating when he said that they motorcycle joust. Both of these guys have guns, by the way. They line up at opposite.
No, I absolutely loved this. I absolutely loved it. And I think that was like one of the most Resident Evil things I've ever seen. Leon fucking bike jousting a guy, a mutant guy in a crocodile skin coat in a post-apocalyptic Raccoon City. Come on, dude.
Ends of the road.
It is the best. It is the highlight of the game. I'm sorry. It is literally the highlight of the game.
And drive at each other in a straight line and don't shoot till they're like an inch away from each other. And Victor still somehow misses all his shots. It's just insane.
Keep in mind also, Victor has a massive gash in his gas tank because Leon stuck his hatchet in it. And it's like, get off the motorcycle, you tard. What are you doing?
Yep. He ends up rolling off the bridge with his motorcycle to.
You can also attribute this to Victor knowing 100% that he's not going to die from this because he himself knows that he is infected, of course. How does Leon not know? That's another conversation. But this scene makes sense, is absolutely in character for both characters. And it is also very in character for Resident Evil. And yeah, I mean, it's a perfect scene.
To his death.
Yeah, and then, well, his death, air quotes, because everyone just kind of magically comes back to life except for Timmy Wesker.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not
Don't even touch on the Wesker thingy. I hate Capcom for killing Wesker. I fucking hate them.
gonna act like this scene isn't over the top and like kind of silly. Based on the games that I've played, this is just kind of normal for Resident Evil, but I do want to talk about their criticisms of the scene. So first of all, Victor doesn't even really miss his shots. Like, you can literally take damage. You see yourself taking damage in the clip that you
That is also true.
literally show. However, Leon will not just die to a gunshot, and also he can dodge bullets. We literally see it happen. And as for him staying on the bike despite the gas tank,
I want you to remember that Leon can dodge bullets, but gets bodied by Victor in the opening scene because he's stupid. That's why I'm saying that the game is all over the place.
being slashed. Yes, I know you're unaware because you're just not good at following character traits, but Victor has an ego. He doesn't care. He's not stupid, he's ignorant. And this is one of the examples where
He's stupid and ignorant because it took him like 14 fucking years to determine that Grace is just a normal person. And he also failed to determine it.
ignorance really isn't a problem in the story. And I like how he says, oh, he magically comes back to life. Bro, what the fuck do you mean magically comes back to life? He's infected by the fucking Nemesis parasite. What do you mean?
And speaking of Timu Wesker, Xeno reveals to Grace that she was created and that clones were made of her, but that she is the original. Now, right after he says this, you have that flashback scene that we mentioned earlier, where you play as a little girl that's potentially a lab creation, and this scene creates far more questions than it answers, particularly surrounding Grace and how she could possibly be the original, because Chloe, who we play as in this scene, was already alive in 1990, and Grace wasn't even born until the early 2000s. Now, Zeno's obviously mistaken here, but how is he such a moron that he doesn't realize Grace can't be the original when he's literally looking at the file of a supposed clone of Grace?
That is also my issue. Not exactly, but adjacent. Like, how do they not know? How can they not absolutely know? They must absolutely know. There's no way. 14 fucking years. Victor and Zeno together with their connections and resources, and they don't understand that Grace is just a regular ass person and couldn't be the chosen one. Like, come on, why?
From the year 1990.
Keep in mind, Grace was a teenager in 2018, so the timeline here, it ain't adding up. It ain't mathing.
This is likely because Zeno is just following Victor's word. I'm not
Yeah, Zeno probably is following Victor's word. That is true, but
even sure Zeno is aware of how old Grace is. The game makes it clear that he is just following Victor's research because Victor is far more knowledgeable in the shit than him. So it stands to reason that he wouldn't really question this because he wouldn't know.
Leon stumbles upon Grace and Zeno having this conversation, but before he can really confront them, he gets interrupted by Mr. X, whom he promptly kills before descending into the entrance of Ark. He also kills Hunk while he is down here too, because, we can't go 5 seconds without having a callback to better games.
Yeah, this game is shamelessly filled with member berries that have absolutely no substance. I mean, this includes Mr. X, Hunk, the gun shop, and the cop there from Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Well, these things are just thrown on screen and shoved in your face. It's just straight up key jingling. It's like, hey, remember these cool things from the old games you liked? No reason for them to really be there. Just, flashback, without any substantive payoff.
Yes, my favorite kind of criticism, fan service equal bad. First of all, I don't even...
Yeah, I disagree. Fan service is good. I mean, the way that Resident Evil did it is fine. Legitimately, you get to see Hank, you get to fight Hank, you get to take his weapon, you fight Mr. X. I mean, come on, it's nice. It's nice.
Even know what the fuck you're talking about, or it's just like, oh, this game is filled with just countless bits of fan service and blah 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 blah. It's like, bro, if there's some small Easter eggs and stuff that calls back to previous games, or even the Mr. X thing, which I thought was pretty cool and fits within this game, then like, what is the problem? And even the Hunk thing, it's like, yeah, sure, there's not really any writing substance in the story for him, but this is very obviously something that later games will probably expand upon, which is what happens with other things in
Doesn't matter if later games expand upon. That's not a good argument. The good argument is already done. It's like, it's cool. Hank is there, this guy's there, that other guy's there, the guy from that other thing is there, Kendo is there. Like, it's fine.
in this game as well, like Chris. It's like, what? I just don't see what the
Well, Kendo isn't exactly there, just in a flashback.
issue is. And like specifically with like the thing with like the cop who puts you on like the Easter egg hunt, I think that's a pretty good level design, or adds to that level design. I don't see what the problem is there. Or the Mr. X fight, while I do wish it was more challenging, and it is more challenging on the Insanity difficulty, it was still a good boss fight. And the Hunk fight as well was also a good fight. So it's just like what is the I don't see what is such a big issue here. What is the issue at all?
But moving on, Leon finds Zeno trying to get Grace to give him the password to unlock Elpis.
This nostalgia thing was never a problem for me, honestly, and I multiple times said that even as someone who just doesn't get it because I was never such a huge fan, I still found it recognizable and enjoyable, so it did its job.
And Grace reveals multiple times that she doesn't know the password. Now, Leon's brilliant plan to escape the small platform that he, Grace, and Timu Wesker are on is to shoot a piece of machinery that causes the entire arm to come crashing down. He and Grace then jump onto it as it's crashing into the abyss, but luckily they happen to land on the tiny moving platform that safely and miraculously takes them to a small garbage dump before passing out.
In the moment, it just seemed like he wanted to die, but somehow you just knew that platform was going to be there.
So, can you give me a better option that Leon can take in this situation?
I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. Like, I had zero problems with that.
No, you can't, because there's literally no other, he has no other choice but to do this. And also, if he's looking around the room while speaking to Zeno, then he could see the platform circling the area that he's in. It's like, yet again, another brain-dead criticism.
You know what's also amazing? Is that it's revealed that Leon is dying from stage 3 T-virus. If you've read the notes, you'll realize that at stage 3 T-virus, you have like 2 hours to live. So Leon is like as dead could possibly be.
Okay. I don't really know what the point of you saying this was. Leon's not like other people. For a point of comparison, Batman in the Arkham series performs feats and gets injected with fear toxin that would kill any normal human being. But Batman, and also Leon Kennedy, are not normal humans. This is a common trope that happens with many human protagonists throughout stories. They are allowed to be unrealistic, and they are allowed to have human characters be a step above other
I also agree with that.
human characters.
So Grace decides she's going to delve further into Ark and discover what Alyssa had hidden from her in the beginning of the game. Now she learns that Spencer had come to regret his actions and adopted Grace.
And after she watches this footage from the past with her mom and Spencer, Grace sees that Leon has made his way back to Zeno, and they group up and confront Zeno together. Grace again says to Leon right before this, when they're alone,
I don't know the password.
so you can't even say, oh, well, she lied to Zeno about not knowing the password. She's completely sincere here talking to Leon. And also keep in mind that she is working under the presumption that Elpis is a mind control weapon and that any wrong password will destroy it forever. Because remember, Victor and Zeno have been telling her that is what the purpose of Elpis is for, because that's what
That's an interesting point. Let me hear it from the start.
and Spencer. Grace sees that Leon has made his way back to Zeno, and they group up and confront Zeno together. Grace again says to Leon right before this, when they're alone,
I don't know the password.
so you can't even say, oh, well, she lied to Zeno about not knowing the password. She's completely sincere here talking to Leon. And also keep in mind that she is working under...
So she doesn't know the password because she's normal, of course, and she's under the impression that Elpis is a mind-controlling substance.
the presumption that Elpis is a mind control weapon and that any wrong password will destroy it forever. Because remember, Victor and Zeno have been telling her that is what the purpose of Elpis is for, because that's what they believe it to be.
Okay.
And for reasons unbeknownst to us, the canon ending in this game is that Grace chooses not to destroy Elpis, but to release it to...
All right, so at this point, the guy critiquing is completely falling apart. Remember when I finished it, and I was like, the only reasonable thing to do without knowing anything about the game, anything about the series, anything about Grace. I was literally just a passenger, right? And yet, faced with this situation, after seeing the video with Spencer, I was like, I'm choosing to trust him. I am choosing to trust him. He sounds, the voice actor did a good job at sounding sincere. The whole delivery of the whole thing, it was literally very accurate. If I was Grace, I would have thought he wants me to to release it. Because it is, he literally says, it is my last gift, my redemption. He literally says that. So, I don't know why the guy critiquing would assume that the only logical action for Grace would be to destroy the virus. No, the only action for her, in my eyes, would be to release it.
This psychotic murderer, based on a hunch that Hope must be the correct password because she happened to hear Spencer and Alyssa use the word in that video footage that she saw earlier.
Please know that you are my hope.
She is my hope. A blind hope.
Okay. This is it.
And her reasoning being, well, Spencer regretted what he did. Now, Grace has been shown to be just a complete moron throughout.
Yes, she has been shown to be a complete moron. But in this instance, it's the player who chooses, so it doesn't matter if she's stupid.
Throughout the campaign. Yet in this scene, she becomes omniscient. She not only guesses the correct path.
It's also a matter of. It's a matter of. Twice a day, a broken clock will show the correct time.
Password based on a whim, but she then instantly realizes that Elpis is an antiviral and not a weapon, despite zero evidence to point her towards that.
That's the thing. You don't need evidence. It is literally a leap of faith there. You choose to believe Spencer. You choose to believe him because you see those videos, and in those videos he seems sincere. And especially the moment he says, "Oh, who this child, this baby? Nope, that's a normal baby, and she's all my hope." And it's on purpose, you know.
It is insane to me that you say this with so much confidence. What the fuck do you mean with zero evidence? There's so much wrong with this criticism, it's insane. First of all, I want to talk about how this moment is a, character arc moment for Grace, who throughout the game has been unsure of herself, and then finally, by the end of the game, takes control and puts trust in her instincts to make a decision which she feels is right. And the way she comes to this conclusion is seeing the creator of the damn virus say that Grace is his hope, and that the word Elpis comes from the Greek god of hope. And
Yeah, exactly. The Greek god of hope? What? The Greek god of hope? One second. Τζο, έχουμε κανένα θεό Έλληνα της ελπίδας? Υπάρχει θεός αρχαιοελληνικός που να λέγεται Ελπής?
Πρέπει να υπάρχει.
Δεν παίζει ρε φίλε. Sorry, just a second, because this threw me off. Ελπής είναι ελπίδα ρε, εσύ, δεν είναι κάτι άλλο. One second, guys. I'm gonna get, like, if this guy actually is correct. Yeah, no, the guy is wrong. There is no Greek god named Elpis. There was a demon, and you have to understand that demons in ancient Greece weren't your biblical demons. They were just moods, quote unquote. So if I was possessed by hope, it would be what like Christianity would call possessed by a spirit, right? By a demon. And in that sense, those moods were demons. You could be possessed by mirth, by sadness, by hope, by love. All of these would be demons, for example. So yeah, it's a completely different, like, magic system, let's say. But yeah, there is, like, hope, but she's not a major goddess or anything. It is a spirit in the sense of a demon, not a deity. So yeah. It doesn't have to be a goddess or anything for what the guy said to work. I just wanted to be precise here, because honestly, no, my guy, there's no god or goddess. Especially no god, because it would have been a female if it was. And the spirit is supposed to be female in Greek as well. But yeah, and again, nobody, as far as I know, as far as my basic studies have gone, nobody was like in ancient Greece, in the name of, like, goddess hope or something. It is just like a spirit, a mood. It is not a god, like, oh my god. But it doesn't matter, because the argument still works. Anyway.
seeing the creator of the damn virus say that grace is his hope, and that the word Elpis comes from the Greek god of hope. And you're telling
There is no Greek god of hope. It is just a mood, like we say, anger. You could call the injection anger, and it would be based on the mood and the spirit of anger, but not a god or a goddess or a deity or anything. Like 100%, like, you know, it's just, yeah.
telling me she has no evidence to believe that this is the past.
I had to double check with ChatGPT to confirm what I knew, that there is no such thing as a Greek god of hope or anything like that, not even remotely.
Word, or that this is the correct thing to do, while Spencer is literally talking about his regrets when it comes to how he conducted his experiments.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
My research opened Pandora's box, unleashing disaster upon the world.
It is very important that he says opened Pandora's box, because in the legend, when all the bullshit is gone from the box, all that remains, the last thing that remains in there is actually hope, or Elpis. So if Spencer says I opened Pandora's box and released all those viruses, well, the last thing that remains is hope, Elpis.
The goddess of hope, or so the myth goes.
And also Resident Evil is wrong. There is no goddess of hope. There's no such thing. It's like saying that anger is a god, or saying that crying is a god, or saying that despair is a god. But they're not. They're just moods / spirits, according to ancient Greeks, and you get possessed by them because you feel a lot of them. You know, you feel too much of them, and then you act possessed by them. Does that make sense to you? They're not people, they're not worshipped, they're not deified, they're not part of the Olympians or anything. So please understand this distinction, because the game is wrong here.
A blind hope.
What do you mean?
Humans cannot predict when death will come for them. This is why they have hope. I was wrong, and I am plagued by guilt. Happiness cannot be achieved at the expense of others. Oh, oh, oh. Oh.
Who is that? Is that one of your subjects?
Of course not. She was alone in the world. I took her in to make amends. Is she perfectly normal? Just an average child needing a home. She is my hope.
What's her name?
Grace. I only hope it serves as a requiem for those who have passed.
Elpis is Spencer's atonement. It's an antiviral.
Like, the word hope is mentioned so many damn times in this, like, not only this video, but throughout this game with Grace, whether it's her mom or Spencer, that I think you would genuinely have to go to the hospital if you took a shot every time the word was mentioned. Not to mention, what other option does she have? She either types in the password she thinks is correct, and if it's correct, it confirms her theory that it's an antiviral and Spencer's atonement, and Leon can get cured, or she types in the password hope and Elpis gets destroyed. Like, holy shit, actual genius is making this video.
She even tries to interrupt Zeno from injecting himself despite knowing this. Had Zeno listened to her tell him that it was an antiviral, he wouldn't have injected himself and lost his powers and would have just killed them both on the spot.
Okay, first of all, why would she think that Zeno would believe her? Second of all, she says this in response to Leon asking what is she doing. Then, probably in her excitement that she finally took control and did something good for once, at least from her perspective, tries to explain herself to Leon only to get interrupted. Then, she lets Zeno inject himself with it and then explains to him what it actually is. What are we talking about?
One sec, sorry. All right, let's go on. Sorry, I had to tell my flatmate that, like, keep it down at this point. What I was gonna say is that she did try to stop Zeno from injecting himself, and that I didn't understand. Um, I can find no excuse. There is no reason for her to even mention anything. She should have let him um inject himself without saying anything.
It's also revealed later on that there was no connection between Grace and Emily, meaning that Emily was a giant nothing burger of a character that served no purpose aside from extending the game's runtime and giving Grace a dumb excuse to go with the villains and to move the plot forward.
Yeah, the only reason you think she's a nothing burger of a character that serves no purpose and that Grace was given a dumb excuse just to go with the villains just proves that you were not paying attention to what Grace's character arc is in the game. I mean, that was already proven, but like, Jesus.
Victor, upon seeing all this idiocy, marvels at Spencer's genius because he realized that Spencer's endgame was to create anarchy.
Just a sec.
By causing the world's order to be thrown into chaos. And after that, Victor rightly calls Timu Wesker an imitation and promptly kills him.
All right, so here's my thing here. Is the little girl a nothing burger? Yes, but not in the sense that Colin's world thinks, or the sense that the other guy thinks. She's a nothing burger because, well, she's just a plot device at that point. Think about this, if you didn't need the Bray code, she's useless. Would the granny monster work without even ever knowing where she came from or what she was or any other story? Yes, it would work fine. So she's just an addition to actually cause a schism between Leon and Grace, because without that, they don't have a reason to not be co-oping all the way to the end. So, yeah, it's not there's a slight difference. Like, she's not like a nothing burger because her character arc closes too fast or anything. She's a nothing burger because even without her existence at all, there would make no difference would be there. Like, that's it. So literally, she's nothing. She's nothing but an emotional heart pull, heartstring pull for the player to be like, oh, I understand, Grace. She doesn't want to. Come on, you've seen it a billion times. Is what it is. Is basically somebody seeing someone else slowly transforming from normal to zombie and going through those stages of rejection and being like, but what if we could save them and then I'll have to shoot them? Like, Walking Dead does this like a billion fucking times. Other zombie franchises do this fucking thing a billion times. Every movie with a zombie features a scene where you see a character go through some things with another character only for them to be beaten, and then the main character has to be like, oh, it's so hard to shoot you. Come on, dude, we've done this a billion times, and this is the same thing. Like, it's Grace going like, oh, there's a human being still in there, and trying to add to the tension after 10 fucking 20 10 billion fucking Resident Evil games. Are we still doing that? Like, it's literally nothing. Come on, dude. So it's a nothing burger for that. Like, it's a character that isn't necessary for anything to happen other than for the player to feel this whole but like she's still a little girl. Like, no, bro, no. I don't agree with either of these guys, but yes, she's a nothing burger. I just don't agree why. It's just, nah, bro. You can't defend the existence of the little girl. That's why I didn't feel connected with her at all. I never felt any connection about shooting her or anything. Like, I was like, what does it matter? I don't care. Because my brain immediately subconsciously saw that and was going like, whatever. Like I know why this girl is there for. This is nothing but like an emotional like anchor or something. Like I don't give a shit, honestly. So yeah, I think both of these guys are wrong. But the guy critiquing Type 2 Productions is slightly right in the sense of like, yes, she's nothing. She's literally nothing.
Showing that his arc was, well, nothing. Genuinely nothing.
Yeah, Xenos' arc was also a nothing burger. He was there just because Wesker couldn't be there. That's all.
Xeno is a wet fart of a character. He accomplished nothing and served no purpose.
And that is not an exaggeration. His entire story arc in this game is meaningless. Here's what he does in this game. First time you see him, he kills a bunch of soldiers to establish he's this big, dangerous threat. He dodges a bunch of Leon's bullets when they're on the platform together, Wesker style, to, I guess, aura farm and let you know how powerful he is instead of just killing him. He has no backstory. He adds absolutely nothing new to the lore. He doesn't even have a boss fight. And then his final moments in the campaign are him injecting himself with Elpis, having no clue what it does, losing his powers because of it, and then dies unceremoniously to the other lame, underdeveloped, stupid villain.
Okay, so first of all, I do just want to say, I do think Xeno, as a character, doesn't have any depth, like himself. But to the story's credit, there is one interesting thing that Xeno being in the story accomplishes, thematically at least. Like, Xeno's whole thing is about him, you know, being powerful and having control. That's why he wants the mind
Is this copium?
control virus. And it's a nice opposite parallel to Grace being, you know, the complete opposite of that. Someone who's relatively powerless and feels like she has no
Bro.
control over her life. But it's her growing as a character and taking control that stops Xeno from winning. And stops another person dying because of her being Leon. That is the only thing I think is interesting about Xeno's, like...
That could be said about any villain and protagonist. Like, this is nothing. Xeno was nothing. Sorry, you're coping.
Implementation in this story. So I will say that, yeah, Xeno's character has no depth. But saying he serves no purpose in the story, it's like, obviously he serves a purpose. Just look at what he does.
I mean, yeah, flies also serve a purpose. You don't see video games about random flies. Like, you know what I mean, right?
In the story.
Everyone can assign themselves a purpose and then they have a purpose and that's it. Like, yeah, okay. So Xenos was there to do this. Okay, sure. That's it.
There's a very clear reason why he's there. Now, you can correctly criticize that he doesn't have...
I mean, my guy, that's a very low bar. If he didn't even have a purpose of being there, then this would have been a minus 10 out of 10. Like, what is this bar you're setting for yourself, Colin?
Any depth, and especially the boss fight thing too. He should have had a boss fight. But saying he serves no purpose, it's like, bro, you literally just explained what he did in the story. It's like, obviously he has a purpose, even if the character himself is not very good. But they also say that Victor is an underdeveloped, stupid character, which is just like, no, he's not.
No, he's absolutely stupid. He's absolutely stupid. If he wasn't, none of the plot would have happened.
Not underdeveloped at all. How is he underdeveloped?
Underdeveloped? No, he's not underdeveloped. He's just formulaic. And I think that's actually worse.
Literally don't explain that at all. And then your only instance of him being stupid, quote unquote, is just him being pretty careless and ignorant about Grace roaming through the facility earlier in...
No, my guy, no, he's stupid through and through. He's completely stupid. 14 years, couldn't determine that. Even if he did have the data, he couldn't determine that Grace is a normal person in 14 years. He should have taken in Grace anyway to just, like, study her if he has to. Like, he's just stupid. He's just so stupid. Legit.
In the game. This doesn't really mean that he's a bad character for the entirety of the game. He's actually really interesting. And I explained why I think his character is interesting in my review, so I'm not...
This is literally Colin making fun of a guy for making a video saying the game is not peak by using a video of his own that says the game is peak. Like, okay, this is fucking schoolyard drama. Legit.
I'm not really gonna repeat that.
And they're both wrong in their own ways, and I'm right. I'm sorry, but I am.
You can go watch that, but yeah.
Grace uses Elpis on Leon to cure him, and Victor just stands back monologuing because, you know, if he were to do the sensible thing and kill Grace and Leon, the game would be over. But we can't have that. He has clearly read the script and knows what to do here.
I mean, the way he's acting after he, you know, kind of stabs Grace and then destroys Elpis, it's like completely in character for how we've seen him throughout the rest of the game. He has an ego and he is arrogant.
Yeah, no, I will agree that this one, yeah, this one is correct. Yeah, I mean, an idiot like that would act like this. Yeah, that's true. But why is he an idiot? And if he's an idiot, how is he there?
He destroys the platform, it comes crashing down with Grace and Leon on it, and then tries to kill Leon. Like, sure, he could just try and kill them instantly here, but that would be pretty off-putting considering how we've seen him act throughout the rest of the game when it comes to how
You mean how stupid he acts? Yeah, I agree. Like, bro, what?
he's interacted with Grace and Leon previously.
After Leon takes care of Victor, Grace and Leon are stranded at the bottom of the ark for, I kid you not, maybe 60 seconds before magical plot device man Chris Redfield sends in his troops to rescue them.
Well, I mean, they did. Okay, so this is like unfair. They did notify their department to send in people. So yeah, it wouldn't take too long for them to find them.
It's kind of reminiscent of how he just kind of shows up with a tank in Village there towards the end.
He's been relegated to kind of just doing stuff.
I do agree that Chris has become like a Deus Ex Machina at this point, and I fucking hate it. But that's different than saying that it doesn't make sense that they found them.
Well, I can respect a man who gets things done.
Well, that's not exactly what he does. He just shows up and something crazy happens.
I mean, it makes complete sense that Chris would show up. We see in Village that he's been tracking threats like this, and his men were literally killed in Raccoon City. I don't see why it's a surprise that he shows up. Like,
It's not a surprise, it's a problem and a bad decision. It's as bad a decision as killing Wesker. To me, it's funny because it feels like Capcom is like, oh, you were participating when Wesker died. Wesker died was bad. It was boo boo, and now you're getting like you go to the corner and you can't be in a game. You can only be like a Deus Ex Machina.
After they're saved by Chris, Emily, you know, the little girl who turned into a big flesh monster that Leon blasted repeatedly with his magnum earlier, she's somehow not dead and gets adopted by Grace.
I found that also extremely stupid because Leon says basically I didn't shoot her weak points. It on one hand it's amazingly heroic of Leon, and I gave it a pass, but it is actually extremely stupid. But okay.
Live a happy life. So much for any consequences in this game. And Leon's explanation to Grace about how Emily might just make it.
Yeah, I didn't shoot her weak points. It's such a reference to gaming. It's a reference to a gameplay mechanic, like the weak points. You know, I wasn't there. There wasn't any glowing weak points, so he wasn't looking to damage her. It kind of implies that like these glowing weak points aren't really there. They are just stuff that the characters perceive to be weak points, and they shoot at them. And it's a gameplay concession that we see them. So when you don't see them on Grace, it is implied that Leon wasn't looking to kill her, but to actually incapacitate her. Which, fine, it's completely stupid. It does work within the universe, so it gets a pass, but it is just... It's not stupid, it's silly. It's not stupid, it is silly, but it gets a pass.
Is that when he was shooting, he missed her vitals.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That...
Okay, whatever. Uncle. I don't know what to say. I'm befuddled.
I can only be speechless so many times of trying to come up with some dumb, clever thing to say.
Unlike Dead Space, by the way, which in Dead Space 3, Isaac actually mentions this to Carver, and he says, "You see the glowing things? These are their weak spots." So in Dead Space, they are canonically in universe that you can see glowing stuff on enemies, and you know to shoot them. But in Resident Evil, as far as I know, it has never been acknowledged. So to me, or at least as far as I know, as I said, which is not really far at all. But in this game that I've played, and in like the previous, like the original 1 and the original 2 and a bit of Nemesis, nobody ever says, "Oh, they have glowing orange spots, shoot them there." Yes, they say shoot them at the head or something like bullshit like that, you know, generic advice to the player. But they never acknowledge that enemies have glowy spots that you can shoot that are more damaging. So I really think, I honestly think, and I will defend this. I will actually defend this, and I will say that yes, the reason why you don't see glowing weak spots on Grace after she mutates is because Leon himself doesn't want to cause permanent damage to her. He just wants to stop her temporarily. It is silly as fuck. It's a little bit fourth wall breaking. That's fine, because Leon is the Deadpool of his universe. I'm gonna let it slide. I never had an issue with that. It took me by surprise the first time, like when I was finishing the game, when Leon says, "Oh my god, I missed her vitals," because I, as a player, was firing at her eyes and head, as far as I remember. So that's definitely vital spots. I guess though, canonically, Leon doesn't see weak spots. Canonically, you can say that, yeah, he fired at like her torso or something, which isn't vulnerable, and will regenerate or some shit like that. Like, oh, it's silly, okay? It's kind of silly, but whatever. Like, I gave that a pass.
About just how moronic everything in this game is.
You would think surely there's a plot point that has some logical narrative flow to it, but it's nothing. Throw crap at the wall, and I guess whatever slides down first, that's what we go with. I don't know.
I mean, like, I can understand that there's no lasting consequences with the story, but, like, she was a consequence. It's just Grace got rewarded for her character progressing. And I personally don't mind the fact that there's a happy ending, especially because I think the ending to Grace's arc was satisfying. And just because there's no lasting consequences, that doesn't really mean that it's a bad ending. That's not exactly a requirement to make a great story. I personally think...
I mean... It had a good ending, and that's it. Like, you know, has a happy ending. Like, things happened, you survived, Grace survives, like the kid survives, Leon survives. I mean, it's a story. Yeah, sure, it's a story.
I think that the happy ending fits best because this whole story is about characters struggling with those lasting consequences that happen from
There was no struggle with any consequence. It was all bullshit. That's my problem.
their past, like Grace's mom dying.
It's all just stupid. Like, the story is really stupid.
And all the people that Leon feels like he failed to save. So the fact that both characters by the end of the story get some redemption and some hope by the end of the story, I think is a very fitting ending. And in regards to them thinking it doesn't make sense that, like, Leon disabled Emily instead of killing her, which they say he was blasting her with his magnum when he didn't even have his magnum at that point in the story. He was just using a regular pistol. But besides the point, it's like...
That doesn't matter. He should have still killed this creature. That doesn't matter. But yeah.
Like, what about it doesn't make sense?
He didn't want to, and that's it.
He didn't shoot her in vital organs, and she was just disabled, not killed. I'm lost on on how that doesn't make sense.
It'd be a lot more tolerable if the game and its writers knew how stupid and inept they are, but...
That I agree with. Like, it is literally like they have no awareness of how stupid their shit is.
I truly fear a lot of people are just gonna slurp this story up as a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. It is what it is.
Well, even though I think the story is very good, not necessarily
It is not very good. It is actually a very bad story.
a masterpiece, I just think it's very good. It's probably the best Resident Evil story we have.
My god, I hope not.
You guys haven't exactly done a very good job of explaining why it's not a good story.
They've done a more competent job at explaining some points at which the story completely breaks than this guy has done a job of defending those points. Make what you will of that, and as far as I go, I made an excellent job at demonstrating this game's stupidity when it comes to story.
But before we end, I really want to hammer home that on top of how stupid the story is and the characters are, it also retcons possibly the most important character in the entire Resident Evil franchise, which is Oswald Spencer. It not only paints him out as having a change of heart towards the end of his life in the video that Grace watches, but Grace's report after the events of the game come out and say that many people testified that he was a senile old man at the end of his life. Now, we know that neither of those things is true from his death scene in the Resident Evil 5 Lost in Nightmares DLC. I mean, his final words is him lamenting to Wesker about facing his mortality despite his old age. And he is very lucid throughout this whole cutscene.
I was to become a god. Creating a new world with an advanced race of human beings.
Does this sound like a man who is senile in the slightest? I mean, him
That I have to agree with as well.
and Wesker go
I have to give it to the guys criticizing.
back and forth in that scene before Wesker kills him.
Okay, now this is the final thing I want to talk about. First of all, if someone is senile, that doesn't mean they are literally incapable of having this kind of conversation. It is associated with severe memory loss and cognitive function, but that doesn't mean he's incapable of having this conversation with Wesker.
That I also agree with. Him being senile doesn't matter, but at the same time, it is completely destroying his character. His character is to be an evil bastard to the end, and he declares that he should have been God or something and laments about it. Senile or not, this game, Resident Evil 9, completely reckons that, so that is... whatever.
It also doesn't mean he's incapable of remembering literally basically his entire life's existence and, purpose. But I want to talk about this retcon a little bit more because the term retcon is often used in a negative connotation. But a retcon is basically just a recontextualization. And I think Resident Evil Requiem, based on what I know about Spencer, having not played Resident Evil 5, because from what I can tell from those games and the lore that I've watched YouTube videos on and read wikis about, there's not much about Spencer's character that's interesting, if at all.
That doesn't matter, my guy. It was retconned.
He still has the goal of, elevating the human race and, basically the eugenics, but this game expands more on that and, why he believes that, based on his own life experiences. And the scene with Wesker doesn't even necessarily contradict, him regretting...
It does contradict it.
How he exactly went about going for his goal. He can still believe that he was supposed to be a god and he was supposed to revitalize humanity and, all that, while at the same time acknowledging that, the methods he went about doing it were flawed.
No, it's not that simple. In Resident Evil 9, he's shown us almost as benevolent, whereas in every other game, he's shown as very clearly malevolent. And it's not a Vader moment where he looks at somebody suffering and goes like, "Oh my God, let me pick up the Emperor and fucking eject him into the abyss of the Death Star." It's nothing like that. It's literally just, now we decided he's actually a good guy. Now we decided his intentions were always good. Like, bro, what? He's retconned, and it does fucking suck. And it has nothing to do with him being senile. That I can agree with.
I'm sure if they remake Resident Evil 5, that scene's gonna play out a little bit differently to get more across that message. But
it doesn't matter what you think or what you're sure of, based on your own little deductions. What matters is what we have here, concrete evidence. And this concrete evidence points at a retcon, a very clear and distinct retcon, which takes away a character's value as a villain. That's bad. I don't care about your own little ideas about the future.
But I don't necessarily think there's enough proof within that one cutscene and even just previous lore documents that this was necessarily out of character for Spencer.
It was out of character. You're just coping.
Even if you could show me something that maybe I'm just not aware of.
They just showed you something. They literally showed it. They showed you.
Within the lore of Resident Evil that does contradict it.
They did. They just did. They just did. You're just not accepting it. It's simple as that.
I know that cutscene sure as hell doesn't. And even still, I personally still wouldn't really say it's like...
But nobody cares what you would personally say. That's like saying, I believe in God. Alright, can you prove that God exists? No, but I still believe. Okay, but then how do you know he exists? Like, it's the same argument. Like, oh, I was shown the evidence. I don't have contrary evidence, but I still believe. Okay, Britney Spears, you can still believe. But, that doesn't matter.
I wouldn't take much issue with it because, again, based on what I know, Spencer's just not a very interesting character in previous games. And I think this game does a very...
That also doesn't matter. Whether it is better that he was retconned or not, doesn't change the fact that he was retconned. And the criticism was, why did you take a villain and retcon them into being a good guy? Why did you take away that little campy charm of Spencer being like this egomaniacal, power-hungry guy? Like that added to the campiness, to the 80s B-moviness of Resident Evil. It doesn't need to be like this masterpiece of realistic drama and all that. And that's actually one of my criticisms. Why is it trying to be that when in reality it's just silly fucking goofy Saturday morning cartoon kind of level scenarios, right? Except horror themed. Why are we trying to make it be like realistic, but like we have characters so incompetent as Grace that joined the FBI, and then we have like, and we're expected to fucking believe it. Just embrace the cartooniness at that point. And if you're gonna embrace the cartooniness, you're allowed to have like, you know, a big evil villain in a wheelchair going like, I will release the viruses and make everyone zombies that do my blind willing, my bidding. Just have that and embrace it, dude. You don't need to be serious. You're failing at it. You're fucking falling apart. And Resident Evil 9 is proof of that. That Resident Evil should stay on that level of like, release the zombies. And the other guy is going, it's time to call Rambo or Leon in this case. And you know, just stay on that level. You're fine on that level. You always have been. You don't need to be an existential drama or something. You can't. And this is proof of it, because your plot is just stupid. Like the story is stupid. It makes no sense.
Very good job at making him an interesting character and elaborating on his goals and why he wants to achieve those goals, as well as his reconciliation being basically a big fuck you that can either be used for good or can be used for someone to hold power over people wanting this antivirus. And I do like that they do make it pretty ambiguous whether or not his intention with Elpis was either the former or the latter. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that specifically. But yeah, that's gonna be the
Nobody cares about your thoughts. Just demonstrate your points. You failed to do that, so nobody cares.
end of their story critique of the game. Overall, I think it's very bad, even if there's some points I agree with. And
I think your critique is even worse. I think their critique is kind of like, yeah. Like the woman brain thing was horrible. There were some other nonsensical parts, but this guy's defense of Resident Evil story is actually worse on an objective level. It's literally worse. And if you want my opinion on this, even though I'm biased as fuck, you know, me being me, obviously, I've done a much better job demonstrating why the story just doesn't hold. And it has nothing to do with very tiny details like, oh, they're jousting on bikes. Of course they should joust on bikes. It's Saturday morning cartoons, dude. Of course they should be doing that. What they shouldn't be doing is trying to convince us that Grace would have any chance of ever being on the FBI, or trying to convince us of other things like that, upon which the whole story hinges, and that's why it fails completely.
And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I appreciate you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. And
I did let you know what I think in my own stream, but you'll never know, I guess. And that's okay. I'm not gonna go out of my way to have such debates anyway. But no, this was a miserable attempt at defending the story. More miserable than the miserable attempt at at spanking the story. Yeah, unfortunately, Requiem, and it's something that I said on my own quote-unquote review, the story is its weakest point. It is legitimately its weakest point. Anybody who says this story is great is literally illiterate, in the sense of they probably never read a book or something. They don't know how stories work or how characters work at all. They don't know how universes work. And at this point, I'm pretty sure Capcom doesn't even remember how Resident Evil universe actually works. But yeah, that's okay. That's fine. You know, minds change, opinions change, narratives change, whatever. I don't care. All I know is that I am so not invested in the story of this game. And if you take away the story, what remains is like an average experience, I would say. It's okay. That's what it is. But for example, seeing people like Angry Joe just going like, oh my god, it's the best. It's like, oh my fucking god, like losing his mind, being sensational, going like, oh, it's the best ever. Like, oh my fucking god, like all that shit. Bro, have you never played the game before? Like, have you really never played the game before? Oh my god, I don't know. I just think I think people are enamored with the franchise. So whenever a new one comes out, they go like, "It's Resident Evil!" Ah! Like legitimately, it has this effect on people who like, who are gamers and who um, were in love with the first ones and all that shit. Like that, they go like, "Wow!" Like little fucking schoolgirls, like losing their shit and just literally slurping the whole thing up. Like, I'm sorry, but it's true. And I know because I suffer from the same effect with Dead Space. Like when Dead Space 1 remake came out, I was losing my shit. You're allowed to like things like that, you know. You're allowed to like stupid shit. But you have to remember that there's stupid shit. You have to at one point understand it, and you can't rate stupid shit based on how much you love stupid shit. That's my problem, and that's why I think that like, yeah, it's just average. It's fine. That's all. And the story, my god, it fucking sucks. I hope you can enjoy it the way I enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it more without paying attention to the story. I legitimately did. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm here for the experience. And that paid off because I had a fucking bike joust. That was cool. And I killed a giant spider and other shit like that. And that was nice. That's all that mattered. But let's not pretend it's a masterpiece, you know? Anyways, that's it. That's all I got for you. Almost 3 hours. Gotta go. I've done my job for the day, even without the camera. I've really done my job. You should have no complaints. Yeah, I'll come for you on Monday, and then I don't know what I'm gonna stream, because Skyrim will not be ready for Monday. I mean, come on, dude. I can't work wonders, you know. Neris's flight is not even like off the ground yet. I think maybe it is, but like you get it. I can't really. I have like an RP session tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not gonna have Skyrim ready for Monday. There's no way, or even Tuesday. That's just unrealistic. But soon, really, really soon at this point, like super soon. In comparison, and yeah, I'll see what I'll do on Monday. I know. My streams have been a little bit weird lately, but it's in anticipation of actually being able to stream Skyrim. That's all. Legit. Just, bear with me. Or don't. Or fuck off and watch your favorite streamer. I don't give a shit, honestly. I'm just happy I'm going to stream Skyrim soon. And in the meantime, I'll just try to fill the gap with fucking whatever, some Hades, some Song of Horror if I feel like it, all those things, But my mind is just literally focused on Skyrim and my upcoming, streaming it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, maybe you found some food for thought, or at least were mildly entertained, or that I was good background noise. And if that's the case, don't forget to I don't know, like subscribe, watch, go to YouTube, like the shit, or dislike them, or I don't fucking know, dude. Yeah, all that thing. It's pretty. Yeah, it's fine. Just follow, subscribe, all that shit. I have to say it every now and then. I have to keep reminding myself to say it. But you're not obligated to, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing no matter what. And yeah, that for better or worse, I guess at this point. I just find it soothing to stream for many reasons, and so you're fucked if you don't like that, and you're unable to look away. I know some people are just unable to look away, even if they don't fucking. It's just morbid fascination in a way, and I am quite morbid and fascinating. So I can't blame you for that one, especially when I'm on camera. That's full fucking morbid fascination. Anyway, instead of morbid curiosity. And so with that, I'm gonna leave you, and I'm gonna stop giving a fuck about streaming, and I'm gonna enjoy my Saturday. And I suggest that you do the